by transporting learners without a professional driving permit, Transport Department spokesperson Ndabezinhle Sibia.
The driver is in possession of a learner's license only. The MEC has mandated our highly efficient team from Road Traffic Inspectorate to be very firm and work with the traffic departments in Impendle local municipality and many other municipalities. We want to remove from our road networks reckless drivers who are behind the spark of private scholar transport accidents.
In the Western Cape, final preparations are underway for public transport contingency plans ahead of massive taxi route closures. From tomorrow, taxi routes between Mfuleni, Khayelitsha, Lwandle and Somerset West will be closed for 30 days due to violence. Several people have been killed in taxi-related attacks in the recent weeks. Carter Deputy Chairperson Nigeli Mgope was the latest victim of the violence after he was shot and killed at the Nyanga taxi rank last week. Western Cape Mobility MEC Isaac Sileku is expected to meet with both Carter and Codeta taxi associations today to try and end the deadly conflict. Sileku says he is looking forward to the meeting.
Ultimately, what we want to see is whatever arrangement or agreement has been agreed upon, government and association, that it must be penned down and everybody must commit to it. But we will continue with our processes of closing the routes. And when we see at least there is calm, there is dedication, there is commitment from affected parties, then we'll have to reconsider our decision.
In the courts now, cross-examination is set to continue in the Lusikisiki mass murder trial in the Eastern Cape as proceedings draw to an end this week. 6 men are accused of murdering 18 relatives in Gobozana village last year. The matter returns to the Mthatha High Court, which is sitting in Lusikisiki today. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
This month marks exactly a year since the gruesome massacre of 18 people in Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape. But the state is still fighting to prove its case, with a key state witness having dropped bombshells in court. During his testimony, Luando Api shared details of the alleged involvement of the group of men accused of the mass murder. He also testified that he was the one who drove the gunmen to Ngobozana village when the massacre occurred. He also positively linked accused one Mzukisi Ndamase with other murder cases outside the Lusikisiki matter. Ndamase is accused of having planned the massacre while behind bars. This morning, Ndamase is expected to continue cross-examining Api as he is legally representing himself. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
Let's stay in the courts. A 26-year-old suspect linked to a double murder in Wallerstein and Kraaifontein is expected to appear in the Blue Downs Magistrates Court today. The suspect is linked to the killings of 2 people who were shot dead in the area in the early hours of Sunday morning. Police spokesperson Novella Botelwa says they're also investigating another shooting which left 3 men dead, 1 injured and a woman raped.
The suspect was taken in for questioning by serious violent crime detectives on Sunday evening and has since been charged with murder.
And more than 50 people have been killed in recent gang violence in Haiti. The National Human Rights Defense Network says the attacks happened last week in areas north of the capital. The NGO says some of the bodies were being devoured by dogs when they were found dumped in the bushes. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere and has experienced soaring violence, with parts of the country under the control of armed gangs. The situation deteriorated further last year when a coalition of gangs launched a wave of attacks, leading to Prime Minister Ariel Henry's resignation, handing over power to a presidential transition council. Gold is trading at $3,683.31 an ounce. The rand is at 17.38 to the dollar, 23.61 to the pound, 20.42 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.44 a barrel.
There's bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N1 North leaving Diepkloof. This is due to a major accident seen near the Pennyville area. It's causing about a 30-minute hold-up coming out of the Diepkloof interchange. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. If you were traveling in Kempton Park, another accident seen on the R24, the R21 North rather. It's right after the Pomona Road exit. It's causing heavy traffic volumes.
A fine Tuesday in store for Gauteng today. Lows of between 9 and 14 degrees and highs of between 28 and 33. The top story in EWN this hour. The Transport Department in KZN has confirmed the arrest of a scholar transport driver who fled the scene of a crash in Impendle yesterday.
EWN In Touch. in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 9 o'clock. Sanbonani, Dumelang, Bonjour, comment ça va, mes amis? Thank you so much for tuning into 702 this morning. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show on this beautiful Tuesday morning, the 16th day of September. I hope you're good this morning, and I hope you're confident and ready for this day, ready for whatever you have planned. And I hope you have capacity for that, and not just vibes, like Gwede Mantashe said yesterday. Did you hear what he said to the over 4,600 ANC councillors who were attending the service delivery / roll call session yesterday?
I know that we have a lot of singing councillors, but we have no councils. You all sing well, but capacity dololo.
You all sing well, but capacity dololo. Did he lie? I mean, of course, that's generalizing, which is not cool. But the point he was making was, it's all good and well to want to sing longer, but there are important things here to discuss, including the lack of capacity at your municipalities. President Cyril Ramaphosa also addressed the councillors and told them to learn from the DA.
Those municipalities that do best are not ANC-controlled municipalities. And I can name it here because there's nothing wrong with competition. They are often DA-controlled municipalities. We need to ask ourselves, what is it that they are doing that is better than what we are doing? And there's nothing wrong with us saying we want to go and see what Cape Town is doing. We want to go and see what Stellenbosch is doing. How do they craft everything? We need to be moving up the ladder of being good at what we do. We cannot forever stay at the bottom. It hurts me deeply when I continue.
The president has really praised the wrong people here, I'm telling you. I have a few thoughts about this, and I'll share them in a moment. What are your thoughts? 011-883-0702 is the number to dial right now. You can send a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702. Between 10 and 11 o'clock, we're going to speak to the ANC about this roll call and what the president has said. What is this intended to do? We're going to be joined by some analysts as well. At 11 o'clock, we do our World of Work feature. Today, we're looking at what the law says about retrenchments and what your rights are when it comes to that. And then 11:30 for our health and wellness feature, we're going to be discussing meditation for beginners. Do you meditate? What benefits do you get from meditation? Those benefits are part of what we're going to be discussing on our health and wellness feature this morning at 11:30. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7
and 106 FM.
So if you're watching us on YouTube, you're probably seeing like a giant it's a painting? Is it a painting? It's a painting, right, of a lion in very bright colors. Abel, why did you put this here? And I'm saying this because Abel has just put it behind me, which means you're going to see it on YouTube, and you're probably going to ask, whoever sent this painting, thank you very much. It came from Anonymous. Thank you. So I'm just saying, those who watch on YouTube, don't be surprised when you see this giant painting behind me. Okay, two things I want to say about what President Cyril Ramaphosa has said. These are my views. Let me know what you think, right? The first thing I want to say is President Cyril Ramaphosa needs to decide if he is a politician or not. For instance, what he said yesterday, was it politically smart? I don't think so. He has just delivered to the DA on a silver platter a campaign advert. And the DA, my friends, they are going to run with this. That an entire president of the biggest country, the biggest party in the country, has endorsed the DA's good governance. So why would you then, in the next local government elections, not vote for a party that the president has endorsed and has celebrated for its good governance? That's what the DA is going to ask. And here's where I think the president makes a mistake. He needs to decide whether he's a politician or not, because there are things that he wants to go. There are times, right, when he wants to go against the grain and he does certain things. And he becomes honest. He becomes a different politician. Remember when he declared that the ANC was corruption accused number one, which played directly into the hands of the ANC's opponents? It's an honest statement to make. South Africans will love you for it, but is it the best political statement to make? I don't think it is. So he would argue, I'm not playing politics. I'm telling it like it is. But then he's got instances where he refuses to take action against certain people or even condemn certain people because it won't work for him politically. So he chooses when to play politics and when not to play politics, which then confuses us. So he must choose whether he's a politician or not. And if he's one, then I don't think the statement that he made yesterday at an ANC imbizo was politically smart a few months before the next local government elections. It was honest, sure. But this is politics, Mr. President. Helen Zille has just been secured the mayoral position in Johannesburg. I'm telling you.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
But did he lie? I don't think he lied. And I don't understand why there are some ANC leaders and members who feel offended by what President Cyril Ramaphosa said, that most municipalities that do best are DA controlled. I spoke to some NEC members last night and they were fuming. They're now accusing the president of endorsing the DA, or the DA's good governance record. But did he lie? Is it not a fact that the DA has the best run municipalities? What is the top ranked metro in this country? Is it not Cape Town? Who runs Cape Town? Oh, the DA? Okay, what is the worst performing metro in this country? Is it not Mangaung? Who runs Mangaung? Oh, okay. What are the best 5 performing municipalities based on various reports, whether it's by Good Governance Africa or the Auditor General? What are they? Swartland Local Municipality, it's in the Western Cape. Drakensberg Local Municipality, Western Cape. Saldanha Bay, Western Cape. Mossel Bay, Western Cape. Midvaal, Gauteng. What are the worst performing municipalities? Makana in the Eastern Cape. Sunday River Valley, Eastern Cape. Nketwana, Free State. Ditsobotla, Northwest. I can go on and on. Who runs these municipalities? So I don't think there's any question around the statement the president makes. I saw Kusela Diko, who's the former spokesperson of the president and now the chair of the Portfolio Committee on Communications in Parliament, tweeting that, and I quote, Cape Town under so-called good governance of the DA. I suspect the president was misled on this one, end quote. And then she tweeted a story about residents of Olympic Park informal settlement in Goodwood in Cape Town who have been protesting against the lack of service delivery because they took land in 2023 and now they claim that they've not been provided with the essential services like water and electricity, which is a story of any informal settlement around this country, isn't it? But the Western Cape municipalities, if you look at the reports that have been produced, have been leading the way with clean audits. So why are we surprised by that? I think there's a bigger picture here. part of the reason that there's so much dysfunction at local government and in most municipalities run by the ANC is that some of our public officials just don't have the skills and capacity for the positions they occupy. And there was an assessment compiled by SALGA, the South African Local Government Association. And you know what they found? They found that 62% of councillors had been unable to use basic computers, guys, basic computers to enable the passing of crucial municipal budget. The presidency also indicated a while back that only 53% of senior municipal managers meet the minimum competency levels. So with this reality, of course there's going to be dysfunction. And the problem is political parties, including the ANC, don't deploy people with capacity in some instances. And that causes the problem. So until local government is professionalized to ensure the culture of competence, we're not going to get anywhere. And I often wonder, how do these councillors deal with complex issues? Some of them financial, that are facing municipalities. And I guess it doesn't help that legislation doesn't require that these councillors must at least have some minimum education level. So it doesn't make sense that a Joburg municipality like that, which controls what? In charge of 81 billion rand budget, makes decisions for about 6 million people who live in Johannesburg. And you've got Mayor Kabelo Kwamanda at some point, who was the mayor of Johannesburg, who didn't even have matric. Are you kidding me? And you want to come back and complain? And you voted for that person because political expediency? Come on. 18 minutes after 9 o'clock.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Tebogo, what's going on there? Tebogo, you're calling us from Benoni. Good morning.
Hi, Clement.
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. No, I want to win on the president as well as Kweremantashe, but much on the president. I view a president as some kind of a plant or somebody who has been planted to ultimately destroy the ANC from within. Especially after yesterday, I think it just confirms that. Let me just put it this way here. I'm not a member of both ANC and the DA, including the MK, by the way. But if you remember very well, the entire existence of MK draws its roots from the fact that, or from the notion that there's somebody who has been planted into the ANC, and the ANC got Ramaphosa. Those are the statements that were used by the former president. And if you judge everything that has been uttered by the president yesterday, you'll understand, or maybe there is an element of truth to what the former president has been saying, that there is a plant into our party to destroy this party from within. And obviously, if you also draw what we just recently raised, he once said ANC is accused number one. So closer to elections, he helped to decampaign. And remember now, anything that the president says, who is also the president of the leading political party in terms of numbers, it will ultimately destroy the morality of those remaining voters.
Yeah. But don't ANC councillors also need to hear the truth, Tebogo?
Yeah, but remember now, the president does have platforms in private session.
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
Not in. You know what he's doing is, if you're doing it in public, where members, neutral voters like us. I mean, now I'm not loyal to any political party. I make my decision the day before by assessing the performance of all these political parties. So voters like us will be swayed into opposition or opposing political parties instead of remaining. Because if the president itself doesn't have confidence in his own party,
why would you, Tebogo? Like, why would you vote? Why would you not vote for a DA when the president of the country is telling you that these people are running municipalities better? And again, let's make a distinction here. There is no doubt that what the president has said is in fact factual. Reports have indicated that. I've tried to at least take you through, the worst, the best performing municipalities. So the question is not so much the factual, and the accuracy of what the president has said. That's not the issue here. It's not about the truth. And we can argue that because, like I say, some NEC members that I spoke to last night who were fuming And I said, but did the president lie? They're like, no, it's not about whether he lied or not. It's about the timing. The elections that are coming up. Are you a politician or not, Mr. President? And if you are, then you would know that a statement you made yesterday it's not politically smart. It doesn't work for your organization. And I think the president can also claim that he's an honest, transparent leader who is a different politician, because he is not. It's just like every politician. And I've demonstrated, I've given you an example before, that there are certain decisions that he's taken that were not in the interest of this country. They were in the interest of managing the politics in the ANC. So he chooses when he wants to be a politician. This time around, he has just handed Helen Zille Joburg. Tsepo, you calling from Pretoria. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Hi, Clement. I think the president has just handed the local government election in a silver platter to the DA. I could not agree more with the previous caller, Teboho, that is the fact that the DA municipality are being run perfectly in the country. And there are a number of municipalities, some of the municipality we're coming from, smaller municipality, we know is a disaster in those municipalities. But what the president could have done at least is to call the ANC, like the roll call that they're doing, but doing that separately, not in a public space like he did yesterday. But for mere fact that he do that in a public space, that is to hand the local government simply to the DA. And I've never voted the DA in my entire life. But now if the president of the ANC and the governing party endorsing an opponents to say they are the best, and in a public space like that, so he's saying to all of us to say, look, this is the best municipality that's being run by the DA, and the entire country, they must simply go and endorse the DA next year.
All right, Tsepo in Pretoria, thank you. Lulama, you're in Winchester Hills. What do you want to say? Hi.
I claim it's your own goal, Lena, but yeah. Also, this is a very high-level statement from the president. What is he not saying with what he is saying, And in his sincerity, if one would want to look at sincerity, if one wants to balance the polls, what is he really insinuating? It's like among friends, when someone doesn't say something, and then when the outcome of it is revealed, it's like, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
So watch this space. We live in interesting times.
We
Thanks,
do.
Glenn.
Yeah, I just think that when you're a politician, you have to be politically savvy. That means understand the nuances, understand the timing, understand what you say and where you say it, and please don't even try to argue that the president is like, oh, he's an honest, different politician. Really? Really? How many decisions has he taken that have demonstrated that he also thinks about his political expediency? When he has appointed who's that guy that the president, Arthur Fraser, to correctional services after everything Arthur Fraser has done at the State Security Agency? What decision is that? When he was appointing Abu Batabile Dlamini in his cabinet, knowing very well how problematic some of those characters were, and you could tell, does he even have confidence in some of these people he appointed? And yet he did. Why? Political expediency, because it worked for him. He needed to manage the politics in the ANC. So please, this is not a president. What decisions did he take around the former president Jacob Zuma when he was in jail? I can go on and on and on. This man has taken decisions that don't put this country first, that put his political career first. And you want to argue now that, oh no, he's an honest, transparent politician? I'm not convinced. Kustas, you're in Midrand. Good morning.
Hey, Clement, I'm enjoying this show, but this morning. Yesterday, Clement, you were talking about councillors, and a lot of people called and complained about ANC councillors. There's something that I like about President Ramaphosa. He's able to tell the truth at the right time, in the right platform, for the right people. The ANC, when Clement, is so tone deaf at local government level, even across Nigeria, to a point that Dada Morero does not deserve to sit in the seat. If we were to swap today, move Dada Morero from that position and bring in Dr. Nasipi Moya from Pretoria, Johannesburg by January next year would look different. What does that tell you? It tells you that speaking to the ANC members behind closed doors does not work. So today they are angry, when Clement, for being told the truth. You know, the truth hurts more because they are used to politics of lies, politics of manipulation, politics of lying to South African public. And I think that the president, though he has his own flaws, when Clement, let's be honest, the people that work with him have set him up for failure in return. So they have not done him a favor by saying that we've got a good leader, we've got a leader that's just doing his best. They are not helping him. And he needs to pay it back to them. And I think that he has been consistent when it comes to municipalities, that the DA does well. So no, the people of the ANC must not be angry with Ramaphosa, but must be angry with them not supporting Ramaphosa in certain things that he wants to do for the good of the country. There's a Clement. Let me leave it there.
So, Gustas, let me ask before you leave. Do you think the president has been consistent in this truth and honesty and transparency that you speak of since he started becoming president?
He has been a politician, Clement, that has been a chameleon. Just like all politicians have been chameleons. That when it suits them, they're able to say certain things.
So is he a president that you celebrate? So if Ramaphosa has been consistent, I would take your point, because I would say, actually, you're right, Kustas. This is a man who's always stood for the truth. This is a man who's always stood for transparency. You yourself are calling him a chameleon, which then suggests to me that, okay, let's look at the timing then. This chameleon, the colors that it changes to right now, ahead of the next local government elections, does that help advance or decampaign the ANC?
ANC is supposed to take that with a bitter heart that says, guys, let's prove him wrong.
What, in the next, 8 months, you think the ANC councillors can go and transform their municipalities to convince you and I to vote for them?
Clement, I do appreciate the ANC councillors in Tshwane who are working with Dr. Nasipi Moya. They are working. The ANC, Clement, is not that it is incapable of working. They know how to work, you see, but they just don't want to work. The councillors in Tshwane, they are doing their level best. Those are just simply because it shows that when you've got the right leadership, ANC MMCs knows how to deliver services there. So I'm suggesting when I tell Clement that what the ANC members should take this to heart is to say, hey guys, let's change. Dada Morero is the first supposed to change and says, guys, I don't want the president says, let me step down so that people from Joburg South can get water.
But the same ANC, you do understand the same ANC president, his party would still go and vote for someone who doesn't have matric to run the same Johannesburg that you are saying is... So what does that say? So the president says this about learning from the DA, and yet his organization, and he doesn't speak out against it, his organization would go and support a candidate that doesn't even have matric to manage a multi-billion rand municipality with over 6 million people. I mean, isn't that contradictory?
It is contradictory, Clement, but this is politics that we're talking about. ANC has loyal members, Clement, who will vote for ANC even though it steals. Next year, ANC is going to have majority of councillors in that city of Joburg next year, even though DA can take it. So no, make no mistake, ANC members are upsetting here for a week. Next week, ANC next year.
That's true. One thing about them, in fact, the more controversy there is, the more they're like, we stick to the party. Kustas, thank you for your contribution. Sebastian, Paul, Mahlatsi, Ishmael, Molly, I see you. I'll start with your calls after the headlines. It's 9:30. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Environmental groups are set to battle it out with the Mineral Resources Department and oil giant Shell in the Constitutional Court this morning. Organizations Greenpeace and Natural Justice are challenging a Supreme Court judgment which allowed Shell to bring an application for seismic exploration in the Wild Coast in the Eastern Cape. The South African National Taxi Council says engagements are continuing in a bid to resolve deadly taxi violence in the Western Cape. Last week, Mobility MEC Isaac Sileko announced the closure of 10 routes and specified lanes at some taxi ranks from tomorrow for a period of 30 days. The affected areas are Khayelitsha, Makaza, Mfuleni, Somerset West, Nomzamo and Lwandle, where several people have been killed. And City Power has reaffirmed its commitment to rooting out corruption by taking a tough stance against its employees linked to stealing and tampering with infrastructure. In the latest incident, 3 of the power supplies workers were arrested on charges of meddling with essential infrastructure. The 3 allegedly cut through core copper cables in Ramaphosa in the west of Johannesburg earlier this year. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the N12 West, do expect bumper-to-bumper traffic between Atlas Road, in fact Snake Road and Atlas Road. This is due to a major accident that happened right after Atlas Road, so please be on the lookout there and drive with care. If you are travelling along the N1 North in the Diepkloof or leaving the Diepkloof area, do remember that we had an accident earlier. Traffic looks a bit slow, but the accident has been moved to the side of the road. But please do be patient if you're travelling along this route between the Diepkloof interchange and Albertina Sisulu Road. There's also queuing traffic on the M1 South between Marlborough Drive and Corlett Drive, while in the city of Tshwane, some delays on the R80 East Mabopane Highway just as you approach Eskiampatlele exit. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
We have over 700 new Metro Police officers who will be graduating, and many of those will be deployed to, in fact, 5, I think, on average per ward, to work alongside the SAPS in order to obviously fight social ills.
We are always striving for working together with various law enforcement agencies, and that is why we signed the cooperation agreement last year already. We will bring our resources. Let us join hands together.
Brigadier Glenda Mate, national spokesperson for the South African Policing Services.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Mzansi, 133 million rand in total guaranteed Powerball and Powerball Plus jackpots could change your life. That's right. Play Powerball for a guaranteed 70 million rand and Powerball Plus for a guaranteed 63 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in-store, online at nationallottery.co.za, on the mobile app, via cell phone banking, or simply dial star 120 star 7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
All cars are designed to move. A Mazda is crafted to move you. Every line, every detail, form in motion, beauty with purpose. So that when you drive, you connect. Car and driver become one. One rhythm. Builds, holds, breaks free. The feeling will find you. Mazda. Wonder awaits.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, SA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options, from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
Alarm goes off, but silently. And now you're late for everything. Leave. Cancel the day before you leave.
I knew it.
1 tick, 2 ticks, blue tick. Hectic.
Yeah, I'm going to need a mac and cheese.
Adulting is hard. Instead of curling up or crashing out, try the new Nando's mac and cheese with delicious cheesy bechamel sauce, topped with crispy peri crumble. Get it as a side with any meal or by itself, because you're just a baby.
702 and Corporates That Care with Netcare are talking about Netcare's My Walk Made with Soul initiative.
This was an initiative that began in 2015, and a lady by the name of Delani Bezadenhout visited us and said, look, I hear Netcare is very involved in sustainability initiatives. Would you be interested in recycling your intravenous drip bags because they're made of a toxic material called PVC? And in passing, she said to me, possibly we could also make shoes. My appeal is that we've handed out 328,000 pairs of shoes. And so my appeal is for South Africans to get together and come onto our website, mywalk.org.za, and donate the cost of a cappuccino. Maybe you can donate 10 shoes.
Netcare, helping future leaders step into greatness. Visit mywalk.org.za to learn more. 702. Let's walk the talk. Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
24 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's go back to your calls. Paul, you're in Johannesburg. Good morning. Hi, Paul.
Hello, Clement. How's it?
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Fine. Look, this was the state of address by the president to those useless councillors who don't appreciate that people voted for them. And people are suffering in the townships. And they want, I like it. I like the way he did it yesterday publicly. Do you think the president didn't tell those useless guys in the closed session that, guys, look, our people are suffering. There's no water every week in the township in Soweto. It is mind-blowing. It is shocking. And you guys are driving big cars, arrogant, and drinking liquor like though tomorrow you don't care about the community which voted for you. On the banner of the ANC because they love the ANC. It's not the first time the president has been telling these guys. That is why he said, I'm going to tell these guys in my State of Nation address to them, to the public. These fools, they must understand that they must deliver. It's not about own goal or whatever. It is about our people are suffering. Crime is now going up. Everything is going up. Expenses are going up. Who's feeling the pinch? It's a person in the township.
Yeah, Paul, I hear your frustration. But as I always say to everybody, I still want us to even respect the people we disagree with. So calling them fools is a bit harsh, I think. But you can very much so say that they're not doing their jobs. And I hear you. I understand that frustration. You, like many other people in other municipalities that are not receiving these services. And you're right, Paul, because there are now even businesses that are beginning to leave. They are forced out of communities. And people are now left without jobs. Why? Because of the failure of the municipalities, many of whom are run by the ANC. The failure to deliver services. Remember Clover in the Northwest? It's fed up and it announced, we're closing shop, we're relocating the factory to KZN. Remember Twiza, the biggest employer in Komani in the Eastern Cape? They got tired of the inefficiencies of the Enoch Mkijima municipality, which was failing to deliver basic services. And they also said, we're considering leaving. There was a chicken producer, Astral Foods, the biggest employer in Standerton in Mpumalanga. They had to fork out about 3 million rand to make up for lost production. Why? Because of lack of basic services in the Lekwa municipality. There were water cuts. So it's so bad in these municipalities that businesses are even taking them to God. They're litigating. My worry is I'm not prepared to go and celebrate a remark that is made by a president who in turn is not doing enough to ensure that there is efficiency and good governance at the same metros. It's all good and well to talk about it. What are you doing? Like, would the president support a legislation that says there's no way that anybody who wants to be a councillor doesn't have a matric? Or if you want to be a councillor, you don't have matric, then we must find a way to at least train you. I mean, if you are in council, you're going to hold the MMC of Finance accountable. Do you even understand financial statements? Do you know how to read them? How are you going to hold an MNC of Finance accountable when you don't understand even the basics of even economics? basics of budgeting. Because comrades are the ones that are put into these councils. Why hasn't the president spearheaded action like that? Why hasn't the president said, guys, why would you put a Kabelo Kwamanda in charge of an important metro like Johannesburg? Why? Because they take decisions that benefit them as political parties, decisions that benefit them as individual politicians. And now you want to celebrate him for, oh, look at what he's just said, telling it like it is. Oh, he's failed to tell it like it is many times in instances where it mattered when you look at local governments. Sebastian, you're in El Dorado Park. Good morning.
Morning, Clem. Yeah, it's time for them to go, Clement. Absolutely. Time for them to go. ANC must just go, go, go. You know, I haven't voted for another party in the last 4 elections, and I just haven't found a home. I haven't. The DA doesn't do it for me. One thing I can say, I can't. But I'll just maybe have to stay without a party until I can find somebody. But the ANC must just go.
All right, Sebastian in El Dorado Park. And by the way, guys, obviously, it's not every municipality of the ANC that is on the ground and has collapsed. There are some municipalities of the ANCs that are doing well, or that are shaping up, or that are beginning to shape up. And it's important to also note that. So it's a decision you must make as a voter. In your municipality, who is it run by? Whether it's the DA, ANC, IFP, whoever it is, are you getting the services you deserve? The rates and taxes you're paying, is there a return on that investment? And if not, then you are being naive for voting for the same organization that has been failing to deliver. Mahlatsi, you are in Midrand. Hi.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
Hey, Tara.
I'm good, man. I think Mr. President pulled them corners tackle on them. They were not waiting for it. He's been talking to them. I think what we see there is a frustrated president that has been talking with his people, and they are not listening. And the ANC members, as they are, spoiled kids as they are, they don't want to listen. They don't want to hear the truth. This is the truth. What are they doing? Nothing. If you look at all the examples he has made, it's all about them going there to learn, to say, okay, this is how other municipalities are operating, and this is what we can do, and bring changes to our people. But because they've got their own mandate just to eat, and not care about people. That's why they are complaining. That's why they are making noise. There's nothing wrong with what he said. Let's go and check. It's a competition. Let's see how other people are doing it. How are they winning? There's nothing wrong with that. But people, because they are concerned about their own stomach, it becomes a problem. Say, he's taking food from our hands now. He's giving it away. He's not giving it away. If they have to learn the hard way, Clement, by DA taking over, let it be. If they are DA is the racist, it's fine. We'll have to crumble in and see what we can do.
Okay.
Services.
Yeah.
We will have to receive services. It's better to receive services from a racist than not to receive services at all.
Okay. Okay, what do you mean? Okay, but that's in Midrand. Thank you. Let's go to Lubabalo in Guguletu. Lubabalo, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Clement. How are you doing?
All right, man. Go ahead.
Good. Clement, what the DA does very well is change implementation of projects. And the rollouts are effective, and the projects get completed. So that is what I have noticed with the DA. And previously, what I used to do is this: I split my vote. I vote DA locally because I'm based in Cape Town, and regionally I vote the DA, and nationally my vote was split between the ANC. But now going forward, I'm going to vote DA. Nationally, locally, and nationally, because I really want other guys across the nation to also have their changes to be implemented, and then the change must be completed successfully. All the rollouts that the ANC are doing in their municipalities, they don't get completed in time. The money is always running out. They need to be bailed out almost every time. That is the problem. And that is why the DA is ahead of the ANC, because they actually implement their projects.
Yeah, and you are in Guguletu, right? One of the townships just outside of Cape Town, Lubabalo.
Yes, that's correct, Clement.
And here's what normally what the ANC often says to the DA is, yeah, Cape Town can be the best metro, but the DA only services these suburban areas. So as someone who lives in Gugulethu, and from what your observation, even in other townships or informal settlements, is that correct that the DA prioritizes suburban areas?
No, that's incorrect, Clement. I can testify this by saying that the DA is doing exceptionally well in Gugulethu, so much that we've got 2 pools. One is currently under renovations. The other one, the pool has been completed. I go there every weekend. We've got parks that are in perfect order. The roads are good, clean and maintained. The only problem that the DA is facing in Gugulethu and the surrounding areas is violent crime. Violent crime and murders and shooting.
Okay, got it. Libabalo in Gugulethu, in Cape Town. Thank you so much for that. Let's go to Tefo in Sharpeville. Tefo, what are your thoughts?
Madimeja
Khotso.
Two points quickly. One, with all the noise that is going around after what the president said, I'm just wondering. I mean, all politicians, including the president, they do have speech writers. And then I'm just wondering, did the president depart from prepared speech, the speech that was written for him? Did he do that? And secondly, he is not the first politician ANC politician to praise opposition or competition. If we go back to history, at some point, O.R. Tambo himself did say, not everything that the enemy has done has been wrong. So let us copy everything, all the good that they've done. Let's copy that, and then all the wrong things. Let's ignore that, but let's copy what the enemy, the good that the enemy has done. So Ramaphosa, listen, he has not made history. That's my point.
Okay, therefore, in Sharpeville, thank you very much. I suppose the question still remains. What he said publicly like that, separate the truth from it, because we've already looked at what the facts are saying about, which municipalities are run best. Go check the reports that have been released out there. It's the Democratic Alliance. They have most best-run municipalities. So separate that. I'm just also asking politically here. What he said yesterday, does it advance or decampaign the ANC? Politics is about, as I said earlier, nuances. It's about timing. You need to know what to say and when. There are local government elections coming up. Do you think that truth advances the interests of the ANC at this moment? That level of honesty and transparency? In fact, you must watch. I'm sure before the elections, there's going to be an ad on the SABC of the Democratic Alliance using exactly what the president said yesterday to campaign, because they are always going to find opportunities. Watch the DA use this on their campaign for local government elections.
Medical care, like music, needs continuity, a steady rhythm and pattern. Patients attended to on time, medication taken as prescribed. Cut the rhythm, and it falls apart. Right now, global funding cuts are restricting access to healthcare. With your support, Doctors Without Borders can continue to provide medical care to communities worldwide. Because medicine, like music, only works when uninterrupted. Doctors Without Borders, we go there.
The 12th edition of the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is coming. From the 20th till the 21st of September, you'll get to experience unbeatable vibes this heritage weekend at Kailami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday the 20th, catch Don Toliver, Questa, Inkabi Sezwe, and many more. Then on Sunday the 21st of September, immerse yourself in the incredible performance from legendary Lauryn Hill on her 25th anniversary tour with special guests Wycliffe Jean, YG and Zion Mali, and local icons like Lyra, Mandisi Giant, Zoe and more also taking the stage on Sunday. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today on Ticketmaster.com or Ticketmaster.co.za. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and proudly supported by 702. More information on deliciousfestival.com.
This is your business. This is your business supercharged with the help of zero accounting software. These are your numbers. These are your numbers sorted with the help of zero accounting software. This is you.
Hi.
This is you taking business where you want with the help of zero accounting software. This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero and having your numbers sorted all at the same time so you can finally focus on taking business where you want to. Supercharge your business today with the help of Zero.
Search Zero with an X.
Feel the exhilarating power and performance. Feel the anticipation of a new adventure around every corner. Feel the breathtaking wonder of Mzansi's epic scenery. Feel the luxe vibes and the good times. Feel it all and more with the Ultimate Shell V-Power VIP experience. Spend 750 rands 3 times this month and tap your V Plus rewards card for a chance to win one of 5 epic road trip and trek experiences for 2. T's and C's apply.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The Parks Tau issue, of course, he and the department scrapping the proposed credit reforms that were envisioned to help small businesses gain business credit on the market.
When it comes to SMEs, there is no such centralized repository of information that can be used by credit providers to assess the credit worthiness of a business.
Khulekani Mathe, the CEO designate of Business Unity South Africa.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud host of the Macro and Risk Management Conference 2025. ABSA is a registered FSP. Your story matters.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
8 minutes before 10 o'clock. Tulani in Centurion, good morning.
No, Clement. To answer your question, it depends on who is listening. If the question is directed to a diehard ANC supporter, the answer would be no. This is a perfect message. It shows that the president is telling councillors to pick up their socks and to do hard work, and everything is going to change. It means next year the councillors that are going to go in, they're going to change everything, and everything is going to be rosy. But if the message is received by a person who's basically using their minds, this is definitely decampaigning the organization, because all it says is that we as the ANC have failed and the DA is successful, and therefore we need to go and benchmark ourselves against them, and perhaps we can learn a thing or two from them. And that person would be saying, well, rather I vote for the DA because they have proven themselves over the years. Why would I want to put people that have been there for 30 years, and in all these 30 years they have failed? My point, though, is that the ANC is moribund, Clement. The ANC is at the point of death anyway. So to venerate the other organizations and to tell people that, in fact, Tsakani Maluleka has been telling us this, we know it is a fact, that DA-run municipalities are run better than those that are run by the ANC. The point of the matter is it is actually a fact. And whether or not he had said it or he did not say it, for me, I think it's neither here nor there. He's simply cementing a point that every self-respecting and thinking South African knows. But to answer your question, I think to some, he would have decampaigned this organization badly. I mean, I looked at a tweet from Tony Ngeni this morning, and he wrote Kautinge, meaning I just think, well, why would a president say something like this?
Yeah, hey, listen, a lot of them are angry. Yeah, a lot of them are fuming. Tulani, thank you so much for your contribution. Semi in Coronation, good morning.
How's it, my brother?
Sure.
How's it? You know, you and Elbry, you're the two guys I really like the most. But I don't want you to get so emotional, man. It hurts me, man. You know, I need to remind others.
Hold on, Semi. Your line is not so good, my friend. What's going on?
Okay,
are you on loudspeaker? No, I don't think it's the radio. Maybe you're on loudspeaker, so try speak via the handset.
I'm not on loudspeaker.
Okay, let me put you back to the producers because I really want to hear what you've got to say. Semi is in Coronation. So let's try and figure out what's wrong with that line so that it can be clear. In the meantime, let's go to some WhatsApp voice notes.
Hi, Clement Jabuchilwani in Mkondo. The president praised the right people yesterday, and it was long overdue. The problem with the ANC is the deployment of incompetent cadres. The DA does the same thing, but they deploy knowledgeable, effective, compatible cadres. That's the difference between the two. And they really should learn a thing or two. It's not even about color. There are a lot of DA-run municipalities by black people. There is that one Ngobeni was presiding over, who has now moved on to another party. It was one of the best in Johannesburg. So they should learn rather than being arrogant.
Hi, Clement. On the issue of Ramaphosa praising the municipalities, those who are criticizing him, they must tell us exactly why is the ANC performing so badly? Because they are not getting it right, and the best way is to learn from where things are being done correctly. So there's nothing wrong with that statement. They must tell us what is it that makes ANC municipalities so bad. They are truly so bad. So they mustn't make noise about Ramaphosa. Thank you.
What he's saying is true, but we already knew that a long time ago. I remember when they went to Khayelitsha, he was doubling down on that. He was saying something different. Now he's telling them the truth. He's doing a good job in destroying them. He has already put them down in 17% down to 40% of national votes. Now he's putting a nail in the coffin. It's good for us, some of us. And they want him to finish the term. They don't even know what to do with him. Really. They don't know what to do with him. As soon as he gets them to 20%, that's when they're going to realize, oh, yeah, he's gone. And we don't want to hear the Mbalulas of this world after he has left, saying that how bad he was. They were doing the same with Zuma, praising him, 9 confident votes that were done by the opposition, 9 of them.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
My name is Sipati. I'm from Boxback. What I love about 702 is that it exposes us to the global community. So at the moment, if you are locally in South Africa or Africa, you get exposed to the US, the UK, because of the international exposures that we have. So thank you very much, 702, for exposing some of us who have never been out there in the world, but we see the global world, the global community through your eyes. Thank you, 702. Big ups.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
The South African Future Trust Summit's Premium Entrepreneurial Showcase returns to the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November, bringing together entrepreneurs with bold ideas and big ambition. Come and witness the big pitch, where our 10 finalists will compete for the coveted $1 million business investment. Join masterclasses with industry experts who will share valuable knowledge on relevant topics and seize the opportunity to pitch your business ideas to leading investors. Don't miss out. Limited seats are available. Book now at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Mom, Dad, you're not gonna believe this.
What's up, bud?
Luke's family has a kitchen.
Okay.
Like a real one, with knives and a sink for dishes. His mom was just standing there, making food with her hands. There was a fridge full of vegetables, even broccoli.
Not broccoli.
Oh, the horror. Who needs a kitchen? Simply spend 200 Rand or more and you could win Simply Asia for a year. T's and C's apply. Simply Asia, connecting the Thai way.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. We begin in the courts where environmental groups are set to battle it out with the Mineral Resources Department and oil giant Shell in the Constitutional Court today. Organizations Greenpeace and Natural Justice are challenging a Supreme Court judgment which allowed Shell to bring an application for seismic exploration in the Wild Coast in the Eastern Cape. The surveying includes seismic blasting near the seabed, which the groups are opposed to. The blasting is a method of searching for oil and gas beneath the seabed. Khomotso Modise has more.
In the High Court, environmental groups Greenpeace and Natural Justice challenged the decision to grant Shell exploration rights, arguing that it was procedurally unfair as they failed to consult with interested and affected parties. They also argued that Shell failed to consider the harm on marine and bird life, the impact on the community's cultural and spiritual rights, and climate change. The matter was escalated to the Supreme Court, which confirmed that the consultation process was inadequate and that there was failure to take relevant considerations into account. But the appeals court ruled that the High Court failed to consider just and equitable relief, issuing a suspension order that allows Shell to make a renewal application for its seismic surveying. This morning, the court will hear applications from environment and community groups for leave to appeal the Supreme Court ruling. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
In KwaZulu-Natal, the Transport Department has confirmed the arrest of a Scholar Transport driver who fled the scene of a crash in Impendle yesterday. The crash left at least 20 learners injured. It's understood the driver lost control of his unroadworthy minibus taxi and it plunged off Gwaketa Bridge on P127. Investigators have since tracked him down, also uncovering he has no driver's license. He also violated the National Land Transport Act by transporting learners without professional driving permits. Transport Department spokesperson Ndabezinhle Sibiya.
The driver is in possession of a learner's license only. The MEC has mandated our highly efficient team from Road Traffic Inspectorate to be very firm and work with the traffic departments in Impendle local municipality and many other municipalities. We want to remove from our road networks reckless drivers who are behind the spark of private scholar transport accidents.
Let's stay on the roads but move to the Western Cape now, where the South African National Taxi Council says engagements are continuing in a bid to resolve deadly taxi violence in the province. Last week, Western Cape Mobility MEC Isaac Sileku announced the closure of 10 routes and specified lanes at some taxi ranks from tomorrow for a period of 30 days. The affected areas are Kailicha, Makaza, Mfuleni, Somerset West, Nomzamo and Lwandle, where several people have been killed. Sileku says extraordinary measures are necessary to stabilize the situation, and he has called on taxi associations Kata and Kodeta to put the safety and dignity of commuters first. Santako's Makosandile Dumana says another meeting has been scheduled for this afternoon.
Even in these difficult times, we remain focused and know that the commuters are also our customers. They are our livelihood. So we will support what the government is going to decide after this meeting between these two parties. If government is continuing with the sanctions, we will obey and talk to our members to remain calm and respect the decision of the MEC.
Back here in Johannesburg, City Power has reaffirmed its commitment to rooting out corruption by taking a tough stance against its employees linked to stealing and tampering with infrastructure. In the latest incident, 3 of the power supplies workers were arrested on charges of meddling with essential infrastructure. The 3 allegedly cut through copper cables in Reimsig in the west of Johannesburg earlier this year. City Power spokesperson Isaac Mangina says this kind of criminal activity often leaves many communities in the dark.
We really cannot and will not allow criminals, whether external syndicates or our own employees, to basically sabotage our network and undermine the service delivery efforts that we are making for the paying customers, who are constantly inconvenienced by the outages that are happening, especially in this area of Reimseg.
And at least 12 people have died in landslides in Malaysia's Sabah state. Heavy rain triggered the disaster in the Borneo Island region. More than 2,000 people living in low-lying areas have been evacuated due to the flooding. Heavy downpours have hit Sabah for the past 10 days, causing landslides and damage to homes and infrastructure in Malaysia's poorest state. Gold is trading at $3,683.32 an ounce. The rand is at 17.37 to the dollar, 23.61 to the pound, 20.42 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.44 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in Isando on the R24 East. This is due to roadworks as well as an accident that happened right near the OR Tambo interchange. Delays from Barber Road. There's also queuing traffic along the M1 South between Greyston Drive and Collett Drive.
A fine Tuesday in store for Gauteng today. Lows of between 9 and 14 degrees and highs of between 28 and 33. The top story in EWN this hour. Environmental groups are set to battle it out with the Mineral Resources Department as well as oil giant Shell in the Constitutional Court today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang. Welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. So, we are going to continue this hour with the conversation we started on the 702 open line. A lot of you called in. I only played a few WhatsApp voice notes, so I do want to take some time at some point in this hour to play some of the WhatsApp voice notes that came through on the 702 open line. But also, just when you are reacting to the conversations we're having this hour, keep your voice notes and your calls coming, because I really am interested in your views. It's 8 minutes now after 10 o'clock.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
So let's start the conversation this hour as we reflect once again on what President Cyril Ramaphosa said yesterday, but broadly on what the ANC is trying to do with this roll call kind of a service delivery imbizo that's been taking place at Nasrec. We joined on the line by Mzwandile Masina, who is an ANC NEC member, but also a member of the local government intervention team, joining us on the line. Mzwandile, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Morning. How are you, Clement?
I'm all right. I want to start off first with what the ANC's position is. I don't know if the remarks the president made yesterday have been discussed yet. From what I have picked up, there are a few or several ANC leaders or ANC members that are unhappy about the statement that he made as he was praising the DA and saying the councillors must learn from the DA with their best-run municipalities. Has that been decided whether it's a fair statement the president made, or are there concerns within the organization that this may decampaign the party?
No, look, I think the starting point for me is not whether or not what the president said is an ANC view. I think the president made that particular pronouncement. We all heard him last night. So what is important for us is to actually put things into context so that we can understand and appreciate maybe the essence of the comment, because I don't think that the president entirely was saying that everything else that is run by the ANC has collapsed, and therefore we must learn everything from the DA. All what he was saying basically is that there would have been some areas that would need some level of attention. Just to give you an example, if I was to give an example that we take like the 3 metros in Gauteng as an example, which if we use Ekurhuleni as one of the examples, and then I'll go to Joburg and Tshwane just to give you this, is that when we left in 2021 after the ANC was voted out, the DA together with the EFF, they came in there, and then subsequent to that, the regression on revenue collection plunged the city into financial difficulties, which we are experiencing today. And secondly, we lost the clean audit. We had 3 back-to-back clean audits at the time. We lost it during the time when we have not received it back. And almost 75% of the budget was then redirected to go to minorities. If you go into townships like Tembisa, Katlehong, and so on, you would get a sense that there was no service delivered at all there because the ANC was removed from power. And fundamentally, there was a tampering with social packages that were put together for our people, for instance, things like ensuring that we can cover the indigent, ensure that we increase the access of water and electricity beyond that the norm that was provided for, and all those things. And generally, the erratic electricity confusion that went on, which resulted in a loss of over 2 billion rand under the eyes of the DA. One can say the same with what happened in Tshwane and Johannesburg. If you go to Johannesburg, you even find shacks that are right in the middle of the CBD next to the N2 during that time. And the manifestation of informal settlement throughout the city. So there is literally, in my view, very little the ANC can learn from the DA. Probably the DA can learn a lot from the African National Congress. All what the president was trying to say is that OR Tambo would say that, sometimes you learn even from your enemies if there is something right they're doing.
But Mzandile, wait, are you saying that there's very little? I mean, the president of the organization yesterday just told you that we need to learn from the DA because they've got the best run municipalities, which is factual. You are saying there's little to learn from the Democratic Alliance, despite evidence that is there that shows that their municipalities are best run compared to the ANC's municipalities.
Let's take Cape Town, because it's normally used as the best run, or Midvaart, and whatever municipality that can come to mind, which we can share. And then you tell me what is best in the affluent areas and what is best in the communities where we come from here. Then we can have a conversation about whether or not there is so much to learn. I don't want you to pin us into a debate because the president was saying it in context, and you have to listen to the entire speech on the 6 priorities that he was saying, emphasizing what the ANC need to tip in. And then he just made this one statement about learning. And I don't think that we must then be punished or to be held accountable as the only statement that the president said, because the president said a number of progressive things that the ANC must focus on, because this meeting of yesterday was about sharpening ourselves and ensuring that we can prepare for local government. So I don't think that we must read it out of context and be excited as we've seen with the Democratic Alliance. They've put a president in their website saying that he says they've got the best. They know, as a matter of fact, they don't have the best more than what we can do, we can provide.
But Mzandile, I got a call from what's that guy from Guguletu? I got who? Lubabalo. I got a call from Lubabalo, someone who lives in Guguletu, in one of the townships outside Cape Town, who says, "Hey, we have actually seen that the work that the Democratic Alliance does here. Yes, Western Cape's municipalities have generally better governance, higher performance on audits, more reliable basic service delivery metrics, which helps cushion the townships." And the Lubabalo who lives in Guguletu says, I can speak as someone who lives here in Guguletu, that I've seen that even the projects that the DA does, they get completed. He has lived in Johannesburg before. The difference is quite different. The experience there is quite different. So I don't know if, because we can have a conversation about the politics of what the president has said.
That's very subjective because, there are a lot of communities. If you go to Deb, you go to Langa and so on, you will not have such an experience. Actually, Clement, you are well-traveled in South Africa. If you come to Cape Town, just disabuse yourself. Don't go to affluent areas. Just go to the township to see the state of affairs. Then you'll have a sense that there is nothing called a best-run city of Cape Town. Yes, of course, in terms of clean audit, one must acknowledge, but they are not the only metro. Guruleni had almost 5 clean audits back to back, and then that has disappeared now. And I believe that under the current leadership of the ANC in some of these municipalities,
But that has disappeared. And also, the metric, what qualifies you to be the best-run metro, is not just clean audits. When you look at the different reports that get released, or even the Auditor General, it doesn't just end at clean audit. So the Metro of Cape Town has actually done more than just producing a clean audit, which is what has brought it to be the best run metro in South Africa.
What is that more in your view, so that we can then have a proper engagement? Because there are polls that get run by independent institutions, and they give feedback. There is SALGA, there is other independent audit processes that happen for you to arrive at that particular area. So I am saying to you, it is Cape Town. There are some good things that you can take, which is what you can refer to what the president probably was saying. And secondly, there are some bad things that are happening in Cape Town.
Yeah,
so
just like in Gauteng. Are there no bad things in Gauteng? Don't you have informal settlements in Gauteng?
Many of the mess that is being fixed in Gauteng, in Johannesburg in particular, and in Swan, is a mess that has been created by the Democratic Alliance.
But who's been in charge of these metros since 1994?
Who was in charge of these cities before 1994? Because this is a legacy of apartheid. So if you
so 30 years later, we're still talking about the legacy of apartheid.
Look, Clement, let's not be naive. Let's not look at this with the eyes of 1994. Let's look at the historic nature of these institutions, because they did not start in 1994. They were democratized in 1994, yes. But if we, for instance, take any other municipalities, the service provision was meant for only whites. And the ANC, I can give you statistics for different municipalities on how we have expanded these services.
Please give me that, because I disagree that the ANC has actually done a lot to try and prepare for instance, the issue of infrastructure. Even with ESCOM, hold on one second, even with ESCOM, a simple thing like ESCOM, when already during the Thabo Mbeki presidency, there was a report that said, we've got a population that's growing. We don't have an ESCOM that's going to be able to give electricity and distribute it to everyone. So we need to build infrastructure. What happened? No infrastructure was built. In the municipalities, I've done a series with the mayors of the different metros in this province, and they have said and conceded that we have not invested in infrastructure maintenance. That's why you've got issues with electricity. You've got issues with water shortages. Whose responsibility is that? It's you as the party that's been in charge of these metros for over 30 years. You can't blame the DA that's been in charge for how many years?
No, there is no blaming of the DA here. I'm just putting things into context. All what I'm saying to you is that, let me give you a practical example. For instance, in the Guruleni, in all the towns, because remember there were about 11 municipalities, the small municipalities that were amalgamated into one. All of them combined for water. They had 29 reservoirs that were built by apartheid. In 5 years, the ANC built 29 reservoirs that you can go and touch. Others are being commissioned, others are being completed. So it's not true. So you mustn't use this thing of emphasizing that everything has been going west. The electricity network in those towns was refurbished so that there is even distribution of electricity in the main. The sewer system is being fixed. Of course, the democratic government has not had sufficient resources to be able to do all these things.
Hasn't had sufficient resources, and yet the corruption, the money that's been stolen over the last 30 years?
The backlog that has been faced by a democratic government is what you must acknowledge.
When you say they haven't had resources, what do you mean? You know how much money has been stolen by comrades in this government over the last 30 years?
Go and ask even the Democratic Alliance, because you seem to like them. whether or not the funding, structure of local government is sufficient for them. They will tell you that it is not.
No, I'm asking about what's been stolen. I'm asking about what's been stolen. Have we not seen corruption under your party, the ANC, over the last 30 years, where millions and billions have literally been looted by comrades in state institutions and in local government? Haven't we seen that?
I'm sure you're certain that you know that where at least we know where there have been issues of corruption and wrongdoing, people have been brought before the law. So I will not stand here in the name of the ANC and defend wrongdoings. Where there have been wrongdoings, and we know law enforcement have acted. So and will continue to act, because nobody wants the state to be looted in the interest of individuals. Just yesterday, I'm sure me and you read the story of a chap who looted the hospital there. The SIU has taken almost assets worth about 3.7 billion. It was on the news yesterday. So you can't then want to emphasize on that point as if there are no corrective measures where they are wrongdoing. And by the way, so many of these people that are being accused of corruption are not necessarily members of the ANC. So these are people in society who are business people in the main, and some few who are in the administration who are doing wrong things. No, don't laugh.
No, man, come on. This is ridiculous. These people are close to... Have you read stories about Bheki Cele and Clement Manyathela? Have you read that? Have you read stories about the very same man you're talking about in Tembisa, and which politician was in his house meeting Clement Manyathela?
Are they members of the ANC?
No, you said these people are normal people in society, and I'm saying that's naive to think that politicians are just going to steal directly. Of course, politicians, when they loot money, they're going to use their families and normal business people in society.
You can't expect a party to answer for individual misdemeanor. Those who are doing wrong, I am saying it on record because I'm sent here by the African National Congress. They must face the consequences. If you know any member who has gone there was doing wrong things with those people, they must face the law.
Okay. So are you telling me now that as the ANC you believe that you outperform the DA, and on what grounds are you basing that on? Because I'm telling you now about an independent report, the Good Governance Africa report. That index is important. They look at all the municipalities and they will tell you that 20 top performing municipalities are situated in the Western Cape. If you look at the Auditor General's report, it will paint a similar picture to you. So if you want to claim that the ANC outperforms the DA, on what grounds? What evidence do you have?
No, Clement, I'm saying to you, the problem is you are judging two wrong things, right? For instance, because this is a special issue, majority of the municipalities in the Western Cape, firstly, they have sources of revenue because of how they are located, right? Either in the farms, either in the main areas, even the rural areas, there's productive land and so on and so on. You cannot compare them with some of the municipalities in Limpopo or somewhere in KZN and so on and so on. So I'm saying that's the first thing, that those municipalities become self-sustainable because they've got revenue, a sense of revenue, where the revenue comes from. Until we correct the skewed allocation of resources at national and provincial level, we are not, even if we can give you and whoever who wants to criticize the ANC.
What about Mfuleni and Midval? Because they are next door neighbors. They've got the same resources.
Mfuleni is a very small municipality. That's why even if they claim a clean audit, for instance, I made this point when the former mayor Bongani was the mayor, that you're running a 100 million rand municipality and then we are running a 57 billion rand municipality. To account for those two things,
Mzandile, you've got smaller municipalities you run as the African National Congress, and yet we still see corruption and lack of service delivery there.
Look, the reason why we have this committee of local government intervention is to intervene where there have been rampant corruption and wrongdoings, where it has been happening, where we've heard about the things that have been happening. And we are acting, including making some relevant changes. But all the point I'm making is that many of those, for instance, if you look at municipalities in the Free State, I will give you an example because I spent a lot of time in the Free State. Those municipalities are not self-sufficient. Coupled with that, even that which comes from national revenue is not sufficient to make sure that they can do basic things of local government. These are the failures that we must confront. So I am saying to you, two things that are critical for local government so that we can then measure apples with apples. Firstly, is that we must turn around on how municipalities are financed. Secondly, municipalities, all of them, must be held accountable about basic things like ensuring that the resources that you budget, because the National Treasury prescribed it, that for repairs and maintenance, we must make sure that people must not go ahead wanting to build new things when they don't have a sufficient resources to ensure that they can maintain, because that's a problem that is facing us now. The meeting of yesterday was about giving marching orders about those things. Say, colleagues, other than trying to impress, build a new road there when there are potholes all over all the other roads, rather use those resources. So the law says 8 to 10% of your budget must be saved towards ensuring that you can maintain.
That's not new, Zandi. That's not new. I hear what you say. That's noble. That's not new. And I've covered the different ministers of local government, Pravin Gordhan, Zweli Mkhize, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma at some point, Thembi Nkadimeng. I've looked at their vision and their plans. They've been saying the same thing over many years. What makes that different right now? Because you're saying it as if it's some nice, fresh idea that's going to revolutionize things.
Something that has to be done.
It hasn't been done, though.
Unless you do that, unless you do that, local government is always going to become a failure.
But it hasn't been done for over a decade. Different ministers.
You have been talking to those ministers. I'm sure you can tell us what has been the issue. But the point is, until we go back to those basics, local government is not going to work in South Africa. So we were imploring them yesterday, the councillors, fellow councillors, don't rush to build new infrastructure. Let's maintain what we have. Let's make sure that it works so that we don't have sewers running all over the streets, potholes and street lights not working. Because if you start there, it then becomes easy for you to build a new infrastructure, but you also budget for that infrastructure in terms of how you are going to maintain it. So these are the things that are critical. That is why we want to have a template for local government, for the metros, for the district, for the local, so that the local government must look like Nando's or KFC, if you like, because currently everyone is doing different things, and as a result, we are unable as a party to ensure that there is uniformity in terms of how we approach these things. That's why we've identified what are the critical areas that we must focus on local government. Water is a major priority. Issues of electricity and all that goes with it. Issues of sewer and waste collection, as well as issues of economic development.
Do your councillors have capacity to actually do and carry out all these things?
Of course, our councillors do have capacity. That's why there is ongoing and continuous training of our.
So Salga says 62% of councillors had been unable to use basic computers to enable the passing of crucial municipal budget. The presidency indicated that only 53% of senior municipal managers meet the minimum competency level. The Auditor General has said that some of these guys don't even know how to read financial statements. Hence, they rely a lot on consultants. What capacity are you talking about?
So let's distinguish between the capacity of the ANC councillors and the capacity of the municipality, because those are two institutions. We have taken a decision to professionalize the local government. So, for instance, when I was a mayor, we had 11 CAs who managed the affairs of the municipality. There was not a single outsourcing that happened there. We had a water engineer managing water and electricity engineer managing electricity, and so because we had decided consciously to professionalize the space. So this is the message that the ANC is spreading across, to say, let's not bring people who have no capacity, who can't read financials, into the financial sector, engineers who have matric and so on and so on. We want people with capacity to be able to do this work.
Okay.
So in terms of our councillors, to answer you directly, we are saying that it's important that everyone must have basic skills, but the ANC is continuously ensuring that we are training the cadres that are deployed to ensure that they can do the work. But the first thing is to professionalize local government, make sure that we get people who are fit for purpose, who can do the job, and thirdly, make sure that those councillors who must actually do community work, they are also capacitated.
It's actually COGTA that trains the councillors. The minister has confirmed many times that they give them refresher courses.
Of course.
Yeah, but that's government, so it's not you as the ANC that's training them. You put up people there, some of whom don't have capacity, and government must go retrain them. And it's not just you, it's other political parties too.
No, but you see now you are not fair. You accuse the ANC. We've never been running municipalities without other parties. There's always been other parties. But you say we are.
No, that's not true. Since after democracy, you've been running municipalities with other parties.
But Clement, you also must give me a chance to talk. Otherwise, now you are talking alone. And I thought
I am. Go ahead.
We must give you facts from what we know, and we can debate the facts, and we don't have to be emotional about it. So I'm saying to you, where you are putting a blame, you say you guys have been running, so we accept.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, now you can't then, when I say to you, the ANC-led government is actually giving these people capacity so that they can discharge their services. You say, no, it's not you and not you alone. It's an unfair...
But how have you done it? That's what I'm trying to clarify, because my understanding is it's COCTA that gives the refresher courses. But Clement, I'm saying to you, COCTA has been run by the ANC. You counted 4 or 5 ministers of the ANC, starting with Pravin Gordhan, right? So when it's convenient for you, those are not ANC people. So we cannot tell you that there is training, and that indeed COCTA is the one that trains, and SALGA that trains local government people. And majority of those people in the structures there are employees of the African National Congress. So I'm saying to you, I am confirming, which is what you are raising, that there is ongoing training for these councillors. Yeah, but I think you're missing the point. The point is, I don't think government should be spending money training councillors. I think you as the ANC, the DA, IFP, make sure that you put councillors that have capacity. If they don't have, use your own resources as political parties to train them. Why am I, as a taxpayer, my money must be used to go and train somebody that's been put in a position by a political party that can see that that person just doesn't have the skills?
So, Clement, you want to tell me that 702 have never taken you to any refresher course when?
No. Well, if they take me to a refresher course, one thing I'll tell you is they'll never put me behind this mic when they don't know I don't have the skills to do it. That's the most basic thing. And that's the point I'm making with political parties. The most basic things that councillors might understand.
You know what is the basic skill of a councillor?
What is it?
I'm asking you.
No, tell me. I'm asking, what is it? I don't know.
No.
Tell me.
Give you a metaphor of a mic. So what do you think? You think a councillor must is someone who must open a computer, is someone who must go and collect issues of the people and ensure that they are reported and resolved?
Those issues must be reported, but if it's a councillor that's going to sit in a committee and chair a committee that holds the finance MMC or finance MEC accountable, they must at least understand even financial statements or how to read them. Otherwise, how do you even understand budgets allocation?
That's why there are those refresher. For instance, when I was a mayor, I'm just to give you an example. I didn't study anything on health, about clinics, but because there was ongoing training, you get to be taught about those things so that you are conscious and you are aware. When you make a decision, your decision must be in constant with the policy, but it must be in constant with the law. So you can't tell me that the institution of government that we preside over has no responsibility to give ongoing training. It's an unfair question on your side.
All right. Mzandile Masina, thank you so much. I appreciate you making time for us. I'm so out of time. I'm so sorry for being late for the news. Mzandile Masina is the ANC NEC member of the local government subcommittee in the organization. Give me a call. Send us a WhatsApp voice note if you want to react to what he's had to say. Bali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The Department of Correctional Services has sought to clarify that the parole consideration of convicted murderer Donovan Moodley is still in its early stages. The department says no final decision has been made yet. The clarity follows a recommendation from the Correctional Supervision and Parole Board that Moodley can be released on parole. Moodley was convicted of the kidnapping and murder of university student Lee Matthews in 2004. A couple accused of running a global child sexual exploitation network is back in the Randburg Magistrates Court today. Darren Wilkin and his girlfriend Tiona Moodley have been behind bars since their arrest in January this year. The couple was arrested after the U.S. law enforcement agencies tracked them down in connection with sharing illegal sexual content involving children. And the South African National Taxi Council says engagements are continuing in a bid to resolve deadly taxi violence in the Western Cape. Last week, Mobility MEC Isaac Sileku announced the closure of 10 routes and specified lanes at some taxi ranks from tomorrow for a period of 30 days. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on the R24 East in the Kempton Park, Isando area, we still have got delays on the R24 between Barbara Road and the OR Tambo interchange due to an accident. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. Roadworks are taking place there. I can see the N3 South is also backed up due to these roadworks just as you approach Van Buren Road exit. If you are traveling on the M1 South, some delays approaching Harton Drive. There's also a queuing traffic on the M2 West between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. This is heading towards Amalgam. I'll have more updates for you at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Fire! That's how I feel about the news cycle at the moment. I feel like there's an invisible Pentecostal church preacher in the news going, fire! What do you mean Kenny Kunene is the mayoral candidate for Johannesburg? President Ramaphosa, in his capacity as the ANC president, says, yeah, actually the DA does do a better job running its municipalities. Say it with me. Fire!
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
So you thought you were building a business? In this economy? Good luck. But day by day, somehow it grew. You became payroll, procurement, PR, and pressure valve. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. What's that saying again? What doesn't kill your business makes it stronger? Or at least it should be that. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Pneumococcal disease can strike at any time, especially if you live with a chronic condition or have weakened immunity. If you're 19 and older with a chronic disease, vaccination can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia. The risk increases for people 65 and older, and vaccination is advised to help prevent serious illness. Ask your healthcare professional about pneumococcal vaccination. Don't wait. Vaccinate. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Every day, South Africans are being squeezed to make ends meet. That's why there's Still Good, a new online platform where you can save up to 65% on groceries by buying Still Good value bags. Packed with groceries by leading retailers that are still perfectly good, just close to their sell-by date. You win by saving, retailers win by cutting food waste, and communities win as Still Good donates 10% of their earnings to food charities. Visit stillgood.co.za. Start getting more bang for your buck with Still Good.
In fitness, as in finance, endurance is key. If you're 55 and older, you can get an interest rate of up to 10.62% with a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. Now feel the earn. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. For more info, visit nedbank.co.za.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702. Let's walk the talk.
22 minutes before 11 o'clock. Let's get your reaction.
I'm from Johannesburg and I moved to Cape Town last year. And the differences in municipality experiences are worlds apart. It is such a pleasure to be able to drive anywhere, not have to worry about potholes. I can catch the bus, I can catch the train. It's clean and safe and reliable. I don't have as many power outages and water outages. And it reminds me of what Aubrey Masongu said on his show once, which is that as South Africans, we've got to learn how to own things. And that means that if we're constantly stealing or mismanaging money that is meant to go to upliftment projects, development, maintenance, if the money is constantly being mismanaged, then we're never going to have the quality of public services that we are supposed to have. And while the DA is not perfect, they certainly are getting their projects rolled out more successfully than anywhere else in the country because the money is actually being used for public good.
Hey, Clement and your team. Sure, I have no words for your guest. All I can say is that the president indirectly admitted that ANC has failed in the municipality space, and that we should be learning from what the DA is doing in the Western Cape. That says a lot. So whatever they are coming up with, all these excuses that we've heard for more than 30 years, it's purely that. Excuses, excuses, excuses. So let's just vote DA. Thank you.
Clement, this is our lived reality. We speak on things that affects us and our loved ones and our communities. No matter what the ANC is saying, for me, whoever does the work properly, that it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to be done, that is important. And we are speaking of what we live through. The ANC, unfortunately, is a talk shop. There is no will. They always turn it on the communities, and that is what I see day to day. And only when things goes, pear-shaped, then they want to take action. They don't take care of the little things that is important. There is no care, and that is what we see in our day-to-day lives.
It's 19 minutes now before 11 o'clock. After the break, I'm going to bring in Mbazima Shilowa and Dr. Levi Ndo, who both are political analysts. They must try help us make sense of it all.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What is the status of recovering that debt and the impact on maintaining loans going into 2026?
One of the things that we are going to have to do is to strengthen our capacity to collect that money. But we just have to make a public plea that if you know that you've been financed by the NSFAS or TAFSA, the people who've been funded since 1996, and you are working now, please commit to pay back some of the money.
Buti Manamela.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Spar makes life simpler. Between work, school runs, and life's little chaos, you need smart shopping that works as hard as you do. That's why Spar gives you more than Spar smart choices. Spar delivers quality and value every day, from fresh produce and butchery carts to bakery favorites, pantry must-haves, and even pharmaceuticals. Spar puts its name behind a wide range of trusted products. Spar brand products are as good as the best for less. Every time an item is tested monthly to make sure you get the quality you deserve, Spar to You takes convenience further. The app that brings the Spar you love straight to your door. Spar to You is smart shopping made simple. Need groceries, a quick pantry top-up, or something fresh from your local Spar bakery? Well, tap, order, done. Fast, safe, eco-friendly delivery from your Spar to your doorstep. Spar, the informed choice.
Mom, Dad, you're not gonna believe this.
What's up, bud?
Luke's family has a kitchen.
Okay.
Like a real one, with knives and a sink for dishes. His mom was just standing there, making food with her hands. There was a fridge full of vegetables, even broccoli.
Not broccoli.
Oh, the horror. Who needs a kitchen? Simply spend 200 Rand or more and you could win Simply Asia for a year. T's and C's apply. Simply Asia, connecting the Thaiway.
Oh, hello. Let's do a little word association. I'll say some phrases, you see how they make you feel. Retirement, credit card balance, another interest rate hike. Still calm? Well then, you've got the F Factor. It's that special something that comes from having a clear financial plan to manage and protect your finances. If you broke into a sweat, you probably don't have it yet. Visit livewithconfidence.co.za to up your F Factor. Sanlam. Live with confidence. T's and C's apply. Sanlam Life is a licensed life insurer and authorized FSP.
Backed by popular demand, legendary jazz icon Kenny G will be performing at the Super Bowl at Sun City on Friday, the 3rd of October. Get ready for an unforgettable night of timeless hits and pure musical magic. Get your tickets from webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Breakout Events and 702.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702. Let's walk the talk.
All right, 15 minutes now before 11 o'clock. Mbazima Shilowa is a political commentator. Dr. Levi Ndo as well. They're joining us now on the line. Thank you, Mr. Shilowa. Thank you, Dr. Ndo, for making time for us. Good morning.
Thanks, Mr. Manyathela. Good morning to you too.
I don't know where to begin, so let me start with you, Mr. Shilowa. The ANC now seems to be on a campaign drive to spin what the president said yesterday. I don't know what you heard. If you heard what Mzwandile Masina said, he seems to say the president didn't really mean that the DA has the best metros. In fact, he says the DA has a lot to learn from the ANC and not the other way around. What do you make of that? Are they facing a PR crisis now?
No, I don't think so. You know, the late Kadakas Asmal spoke about the tyranny of the soundbite. And we seem to be in the age of the X or social media the same way there. There were a lot of things that were said yesterday by the president, but we seem to have only just picked what he said on the report of the AG. So I'm happy to speak on that. I understood him to have said, one, the AG report is as it is, and it pains him every time it is presented that it says some of the most performing municipalities are DA-run municipalities, and spoke about the need to be able to benchmark in terms of those. And I think there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not even sure why the ANC would want to tie itself in knots. Benchmarking happens all the time. A few weeks ago, MEC Lebogang Maile was in a meeting with the Western Cape counterpart, saying we're meeting because we want to be able to benchmark about each other. I think the problem for the ANC is that some of us, in creating the outrage, we have also added something that the president never said, that he had said the DA governs better, when he didn't say so. But I think the president is right. It is high time that the ANC takes seriously what is in the AG report, do something about it. If not, as he says, it is survival. Their survival is not guaranteed, and there is nothing wrong learning from others. I did it when I was there. I think even now, many MECs meet across provinces. I'm not sure why suddenly this thing becomes a big issue. Even for some of us who have been commenting, there are some who have been saying, no, he's put the ANC campaign under the bus. What is wrong with what he has said is something nobody has been able to tell me.
So he did say that most of the municipalities, the municipalities that are best run are run by the Democratic Alliance.
Yes. No, he didn't. He said, Clement, I don't have to argue for him. I'm telling you what I heard. He said, this is what the AG says, and it pains him. And that's correct. That's what the AG have said.
Yeah, okay.
And so I don't think that's simply... I think we're confusing two things. The AG report is about use appropriately of resources and so forth. There are things that the AG report never looks at. That is the issue of the levels of poverty in each of the municipalities, the level of whether there are new roads being built, new houses, sewage being collected, and all of those. All of those things can be looked at, and you will find in some municipalities run by the DA, even where they get a proper audit, a clean audit, those other issues would not be there. You will find there will be municipalities that are coming out very badly in terms of accounting for resources.
Yeah.
But you find that they are also they can show that we've been able to build so many things.
Yeah, and of course the AG report is not the only one you can use as a benchmark. I've mentioned a number of reports on the show this morning already. Even independent reports like the Good Governance Africa report that doesn't just look at the issue of finances. In fact, let's hear directly from what the president said here when he was addressing this conference yesterday, and then I'm going to go to Dr. Ndo.
Those municipalities that do best are not ANC-controlled municipalities. And I can name it here because there's nothing wrong with competition. They are often DA-controlled municipalities. We need to ask ourselves, what is it that they are doing that is better than what we are doing?
Yeah.
And there's
So that's what the president said here. It was very clear about what he thinks are the municipalities. And of course, he responded to what the Auditor General has said to back up the statement he makes. Dr. Ndo, what do you make of the anger that's now coming from the African National Congress? Because there are some of them have already tweeted, some have been calling journalists and just complaining about their president, that he is basically decampaigning the African National Congress. I mean, the president didn't lie. The question they're asking is this a statement you make? Is it politically smart a few months ahead of the local government elections?
Good morning, Clement. Good morning, Mr. Shilowa and the listeners at home. I would love to concur with what has been raised by Mr. Shilowa, that the focus appears to be on part of the sentence or part of the paragraph that was raised by the president. I think what would be very important would be to look at the fact that all the issues of concern that the president is raising are not new things. There are a number of reports that, as we've indicated, that talk to the performance of local government. And indeed, there are specific municipalities that have been identified to be doing good or complying with certain regulations as prescribed by the regulations that we have. And I think what is also very important is that it is also not wrong to have elected representatives cooperating with others or with their counterparts in order to be able to learn best practices. But what also is something that we need to consider is that before this roll call meeting was called, the president embarked on a trip to a number of provinces in the country, and specifically looking at the state of local government. What I do recall very vividly is that the last province that he visited was the Northwest Province, and the reports are still fresh in our minds. The state of local government in most of our provinces is not in a very, very good shape. And it appears as if the ANC now it's in a panic mode because they are aware that a lot of things are not happening correctly.
Well, did they just get aware, 7-8 months before serious campaigning is going to begin for the local government elections? That just boggles my mind. I'm going to bring in Mr. Shilowa and Dr. Ndo back after the break. It's 7 before 11.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing, and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring Tracker. Their CEO, Dylan Fernando, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
Let's count backward. 5. Insurance. 4. Pineapple. 3. insurance. 2, pineapple. 1, you're under. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702. Let's walk the talk.
5 minutes before 11 o'clock, speaking to Mbazima Shilowa and Dr. Levi Ndo, political commentators. Mr. Shilowa, it's all good and well to have these imbizos and talk about what needs to be done and get marching orders from the president. But is it late? Could this have been done much earlier? I mean, elections are coming up next year. Is it not too late? In other words, can these councillors go back to their metros or their municipalities and start the work of cleaning house to a point that they can convince the residents in those municipalities to give the ANC another chance in the elections?
Well, it's never too late, at least when you look at it as a voter. I think anything that a councillor or a government does, even if it's just simply for elections, it's something to be welcomed. So no, I don't think it's too late. I think it's too late only insofar as Mr. Ndo was saying, these are not something new. This is something that everybody else have known. In fact, they were raised in 2016. They were raised in 2021. They'll become issues now. But, voters are a forgiving lot. If councillors goes back and do what needs to be done, you will be surprised at the response. However, having said that, for me, the real issue is not just to focus on councillors. It's if we really want accountability, we've got to look at accountability from the cabinet, from members of the ANC who are in the cabinet, who are in provincial structures, as well as councillors. In that way, it means you are not just singling out councillors. For instance, my councillor in Guyana can't do anything about water because water is something that is controlled at a national level. So instead of holding him accountable, Pemima Jodima must be held
What about infrastructure, though? Because it's councils that also decide on how much money is spent to maintain that water infrastructure.
No, I know.
So it's partly their responsibility.
Yes, no, I know, and I agree with you. But I think the framing sometimes is a bit of a difficulty. There's very little a ward councillor can do. There's more a mayor and the whole caucus can do. Yes, councillors must account, but I think we must put a little bit more focus on those who run the municipality, being the mayor, the speaker, and the leader of the caucus.
Got it. Yeah. Dr. Ndo, what do you think all of this means for the Democratic Alliance? I mean, they are so excited. I'm sure we're going to see TV adverts on the SABC where they probably use the president's clip to demonstrate to voters that they are the party that runs municipalities better, as the president indicated. What do you think this all means for the DA?
The DA, in my view, would have all the reasons to celebrate and be excited, not only because of the president's speech, but because of the Auditor General's report and many other reports. And it will also be, they will add more onto their slogans that always says that where we govern, we govern better. But I think I want to add on what Mr. Shilowa has just indicated. The councillors have got certain responsibilities to perform, but I think we also need to have very strong administration in the different municipalities. We need to be able to build sufficient capacity, equip these municipalities with skilled people, professionalize them to ensure that when councillors get into office, they've got a very strong foundation in the council. The council can be able to run its affairs, and what you therefore need is an additional responsibility that will come from the political representatives.
Yeah, Dr. Levi Ndo and Mbazima Shilowa, thanks to both of you for making time for us.
Feel the exhilarating power and performance.
Feel the anticipation of a new adventure around every corner. Feel the breathtaking wonder of Mzansi's epic scenery. Feel the luxe vibes and the good times. Feel it all and more with the Ultimate Shell V-Power VIP experience. Spend 750 rands 3 times this month and tap your V Plus rewards card for a chance to win one of 5 epic road trip and trek experiences for 2. T's and C's apply.
Mzansi, 133 million rand in total guaranteed Powerball and Powerball Plus jackpots could change your life. That's right. Play Powerball for a guaranteed 70 million rand and Powerball Plus for a guaranteed 63 million rand. Buy your tickets now, in-store, online at nationallottery.co.za, on the mobile app, via cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Sir, ma'am, may I take your order?
Yeah, let me get the New York cut, medium rare, truffle fries on the side, and the lady will have the salmon. Grilled, not poached. 2 dirty martinis. Real dirty.
Leafy, what's with the voice?
Oh, I came over all Tony Soprano.
Get into character on a city break with Premier Hotels and Resorts. Stay Friday and Saturday and get Sunday night for free. Book now at premierhotels.co.za.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Department of Correctional Services has sought to clarify that the parole consideration of convicted murderer Donovan Moodley is still in its early stages. The department says no final decision has been made yet. That clarity follows a recommendation from the Correctional Supervision and Parole Board that Moodley can be released on parole. Moodley was convicted of the kidnapping and murder of university student Lee Matthews in 2004. Her family has now accused the parole board of ignoring crucial information before making its recommendation. Khomoto Modise reports.
Donovan Moodley has been before the parole board multiple times over the last 20 years, but has not been successful in securing an early release. But yesterday, the board sat and made a recommendation for his release. Lee Matthews' father, Rob, has questioned this decision.
They only had a profile of Mr. Moodley for a year and a half, for the time that he was at Dierko prison. They didn't have his profile for a period of some 18 and a half years, where there's a whole history of misdemeanors and...
Matthews claims over the years Moodley threatened his family and claimed they'd organized hits on him in prison. While the board has made a recommendation for Moodley's release, it must still be considered by the National Council for Correctional Services and ultimately the minister. Khomoto Modise, Eyewitness News.
A couple accused of running a global child sexual exploitation network is back in the Randburg Magistrates Court today. Darren Wilkin and his girlfriend, Tiona Megan Moodley, have been behind bars since their arrest in January this year. The couple was arrested after the U.S. law enforcement agencies tracked them down in connection with sharing illegal sexual content involving children. Ndogozo Khumalo reports.
The alleged distributors of the illicit contents are accused of operating a website which offered disturbing material. Darren Vulcan and Megan Moodley reportedly ran their enterprise from a Midrand complex. Police had seized a luxury vehicle and high-end electronic equipment from the apartment on the day of their arrest on the 17th of January. Moodley's case was postponed after their bail application was denied by the Randburg Magistrate Court earlier this year. Ndogozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News, Randburg.
In the Western Cape, the South African National Taxi Council says engagements are continuing in a bid to resolve deadly taxi violence in the province. Last week, Western Cape Mobility MEC Isaac Silegu announced the closure of routes and specified lanes at some taxi ranks from tomorrow for a period of 30 days. The affected areas are Kailicha, Makaza, Mfuleni, Somerset West, Nomzamo and Lwandle, where several people have been killed. Silegu says extraordinary measures are necessary to stabilize the situation, and he has called on taxi associations Kata and Kudeta to put the safety and dignity of commuters first. Santako's Makosandile Dumana says another meeting has been scheduled for this afternoon.
Even in these difficult times, we remain
focused and know that the commuters are also our customers. They are our livelihood. So we will support what the government is going to decide after this meeting between these two parties. If government is continuing with the sanctions, we will obey and talk to our members to remain calm and respect the decision of the MEC.
To this now, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme says it does not want to see any students sleeping in libraries in the next academic year. Acting CEO Wasem Karim says in the past, students funded by the scheme have had issues securing accommodation despite being funded due to admin errors. He's assured students that they will be placed and housed within hours of arriving on campus next year. Karim was speaking at a media briefing yesterday about the state of readiness for the 2026 academic year.
And we've set in place a planning process to make sure that we have sufficient student accommodation at each institution of higher learning, so that we are not confronted with this annual crisis where students arrive at campus, they have no place to stay, they're sleeping in libraries.
And at least 12 people have died in landslides in Malaysia's Sabah state. Heavy rain triggered the disaster in the Borneo Island region. More than 2,000 people living in low-lying areas have been evacuated due to the flooding. Heavy downpours have hit Sabah for the past 10 days, causing landslides and damage to homes and infrastructure in Malaysia's poorest state. Gold is trading at $3,683.32 an ounce. The rand is at 17.38 to the dollar, 23.63 to the pound, 20.41 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $44.44 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident in Greenstone. It's on the N3 South. It happened near Modderfontein Road. Delays coming out of Vincent Chabalala Road while traveling on the Mike North. Heavy traffic volumes just as you come out of the Killarney Bains towards Glenhove Road. And in Maristyle, there's been an accident on the R59 North near Nelson Mandela Avenue. It's causing delays coming out of Swartkoppies Road.
A fine Tuesday in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures will peak at highs of between 28 and 33 degrees. The top story in EWN, the Department of Correctional Services has sought to clarify that the parole consideration of convicted murderer Donovan Moodley is still in its early stages.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Time now for our World of Work feature.
702.
World of Work.
Today we are discussing retrenchment on our World of Work feature and what your rights are when it comes to retrenchments, because they are often framed as the last resort by employers who are facing financial strain, but they've become a harsh reality in industries ranging from mining to retail. In fact, in recent months, just look at what's been happening in the country. We've seen a wave of retrenchments across various sectors, and that's left many workers anxious about job security and uncertain about their rights. You've got some people that are retrenched without the right process being followed. So what exactly does the law say about retrenchments, and what rights do you as an employee have when facing the possibility of losing your job? I want you to weigh in on this conversation. If you've been retrenched before, I'd like you to share your experience with us. How did you navigate retrenchment? What process did your company follow? If you are an employer, what process do you follow when you have to do retrenchments? How difficult? I can only imagine how difficult it is to call a meeting and tell people that have been taking care of their families through what they earn from your company, and you're telling them this is it. We're not going to be able to continue, or we have to let go of some of you. Please share your experiences with us around retrenchments on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Khalibuwe Mudisapudi is a labor law analyst who's going to guide us through this conversation. Khalibuwe, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to the listeners as well.
How does South African law define retrenchment, and how is it different from your normal dismissal?
Retrenchment is different from normal dismissal because a normal dismissal, ordinarily, you have done something wrong. In other words, there's some kind of fault on your part that you are dismissed. Maybe you breached company procedures or the rules, or you misbehaved, or you were absent from work, but responsibility can be apportioned to you for the resulting dismissal. In a retrenchment, it's normally understood as a no-fault dismissal or no-fault termination, because it is not your fault that the employer cannot sustain jobs anymore. And on that basis, there are very specific obligations that are imposed on the employer in terms of how to deal with it. So in essence, the difference between a normal dismissal and a retrenchment is that in a normal dismissal, it is your fault, but in a retrenchment, it is not your fault that your job is to an end.
What key steps then must employers follow to ensure that that retrenchment process is fair and is per the law?
The first step is that the employer cannot wait until retrenchment is completely unavoidable. So there's a principle that says the moment the employer contemplates the possibility of a retrenchment, then they should start the consultation process. And part of that in the consultation process is to engage with employees through their representatives, whether they are organized by the union or they decide to elect representatives themselves, but they have to be consulted, amongst other things, on what alternatives are there that can be explored to avoid retrenchment. And some of those have been known to include things like short time. Instead of coming to work every day, maybe you work 2 weeks a month or 1 week a month whilst you retain employment, and hopefully when the economy improves, then you'll be restored to normal work. So that's one of the ways to avoid retrenchment.
Okay, so this must be the last resort, but the company could come up with ways to still keep you, but maybe you're not getting your normal salary given the financial circumstances, but they must explore other options before they decide to completely let you go.
Indeed. And one of the key questions they need to consult on is, what are the reasons for the potential retrenchment? Because they could vary. They could be because the business is in complete financial strain. They could be because the company is restructuring to reposition itself for the future. They could be because the company is introducing new technology, which might mean then that your specific set of skills might not be relevant for the future. So there could be a variety of reasons why there would be a need for retrenchment. And that's one of the reasons why the consultation must take place, because those reasons have to be explored, including the alternatives or means to avoid the retrenchment, if not avoid them completely, at least reduce their impact.
And there are often employees who will say, I just got a letter informing me of my retrenchments and there's not even been any consultation. I know you said that there's got to be a conversation of sorts, But to what extent or even what form must that consultation process take? So do I get informed 2 weeks before I am fully retrenched, I'm let go? Do I get retrenched, a year before, the minute the company realizes that it may be in trouble? How does it work?
As I said, the obligation on the employer is to consult the moment they contemplate the possibility. So if the employer gives you a letter 2 weeks before the closure of the business, it would not have been a proper consultation. It would not have been a fair consultation because there is no time to consider alternatives, to consider counter proposals, or to even present counter proposals in that regard. So the normal period will be roughly about a month or more prior, depending on the size of the employer. So an employer with more than 50 employees is expected, has a lot more obligations compared to an employer with 30, 35 employees. But both of them have to consult, and the new amendments to the Code of Good Practice specifies, I think, in Annexure A, how the notice must be given to the employees to invite them for the consultation. And it provides specific information that must be shared upfront with the employees before the actual consultations commence.
Okay. What rights do the employees have then in terms of severance pay and other benefits when they're being retrenched?
The Basic Conditions of Employment Act provides the minimum that must be paid in the event of retrenchment actually taking place. So I think one of the key points to understand is that a pension or provident fund are completely separate legal entities. The employer contributes to them, but the employer does not own a pension or provident fund. It is a separate legal entity. So the provisions in both the Labor Relations Act, the Pensions Act, as well as the Basic Conditions of Employment Act would then provide what must be in the kitty in the event of either pension or retrenchment having to be paid out. But in regard of retrenchment itself, there is a minimum that must be paid. It could be, I think, 1 week or 2 weeks per completed year of service.
Okay.
Some employers would have more beneficial ones, but there's a minimum that must be paid.
Okay. Let's take a quick ad break and then we come back with some calls and WhatsApps from some of our listeners who are sharing their experiences. Some of them have got questions for you, Khaliboy. So it's 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. After the break, I'm going to go to your calls on 011-883-0702. Have you been retrenched by your company? What process did they follow? Maybe you're an employer and you've got some questions around how to do it in a manner that can be fair, in a manner that can also be up to the law as the legislation requires. You can give us a call or send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. Or maybe you want to share your own experience on how the retrenchment process was handled by your company. We'll start with your calls and WhatsApps after this.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
So there's more money being made available, and there seems to be a general acknowledgement, Dr. Phillips, that money has to be spent and maintenance has to move forward. What would stop the city of Joburg from taking that money back again, as they have done, to the tune of 4 billion rand in the past?
Well, that shouldn't be happening. In our view, it's very important that revenues from the sale of water. It's fine if the city wants to add a surcharge to revenues from the sale of water. That revenue is a major source of funding for other activities in the city.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
The South African Future Trust Summit is fast approaching. This premium entrepreneurial showcase will return to the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November, with international and local speakers sharing groundbreaking insights from their entrepreneurial journeys. It's an unmatched opportunity to network with like-minded entrepreneurs, innovators, investors, and changemakers, with 2,000 plus delegates and over 200 exhibitors all under one roof. Come and experience the extraordinary world of thriving entrepreneurs and business owners. Avoid missing out. Get your tickets now for 1,800 Rand each for the 2 days at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 1 kg D-Light 37% fat spread tub, $34.99. Save 8 Rand with Spar Rewards. Or 1 kg Spar French, chili, garlic or chicken polony for $34.99 with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Price is valid until 22 September 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
The future of Durban will be shaped at the upcoming 2025 Resurgence Conference hosted by the eThekwini municipality, the Clement Manyathela Show. This show will be there live on Monday, the 22nd of September, to bring you everything you need to know about the highly anticipated event. Durban is open for business and investment, and this is where all the key conversations begin and connections are made. So don't miss the Clement Manyathela Show live at the Resurgence Conference in Durban on Monday, the 22nd of September from 9 a.m. only on 702.
702.
World of Work.
It's 21 minutes after 11 o'clock. We are talking retrenchments on our World of Work feature this morning. And I'm taking your calls on 011-883-0702. Khaliboe Modisapudi, I should say, has been talking to us about the laws, what is expected of employers. He's been talking to us about the kind of benefits that you get as an employee when you're getting retrenched, the severance pay, etc., etc., and also just the processes that are supposed to be followed in a retrenchment process. Is that the process that was followed in your company? I want you to share your experiences with us. If you've got questions as well for Khaliboe, you can call us or send us a WhatsApp. Let's start with your WhatsApps.
Good morning, Clement, to your guest there. A quick one, man. So if the company issues a 189 notice and then they invite people to volunteer to what they call VSP, voluntary severance package, if one takes that and the other one decides to allow the process to push them out, is there a difference when it comes to the UIF claim? So the one that volunteered, will he or she be treated as having jumped sort of on their own, or they'll both be treated as having been retrenched the same way? Thanks, I'll listen on the radio, Kiki.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Khaliboe?
Yes. Remember, the nature of the retrenchment is that it's a no-fault termination. So whether the employees have volunteered once the retrenchment door is opened or not is immaterial to the question of their UIF entitlement. Ordinarily, whether you volunteer or not is also subject to the employer approving the list of volunteers, because one of the issues they consult on is what is the criteria to be used for selecting employees to be retrenched. And skills might be one of them, and how close you are to your retirement age might be the other. So if you volunteer, for example, but you have the set of skills that the employer still needs, you may not be offered a retrenchment package at all. So it depends on how close are you to the defined or ultimately agreed selection criteria for retrenchment, and that may determine whether or not you are granted the retrenchment that you volunteered for.
Yeah.
And once that happens, it has nothing to do with your entitlement to UIF.
Here's another one.
Hi, good morning, Clemmy, and your panelists there, Flores here from the Winelands. How does retrenchment work? Does it work then last in, first out? And then also, when companies, when it seems to be bloated, does it mean that excess people can be put off work? Yeah, I was just curious to find out whether those people can be retrenched. Have a good job. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Khaliboy?
Last in, first out is one of the key considerations to be determined when deciding on the final selection criteria. It may very well happen, for example, that employees who came in last may have the kind of skills or learning agility that's required going forward. And employees who've been in the company for long may not have the learning agility or even the willingness to learn anymore. So in that instance, last in, first out may not work. But whether it is the agreed final selection criteria will be dependent on the consultation itself and what the reasons for the restructuring that are resulting in retrenchments be. So if the retrenchment are as a result of the organization introducing new technology, as an example, it may happen that the last in, first out does not apply because the employees that joined in last may still have the learning ability to be put through a skills development progress, whereas employees who are longer in service may not even have the willingness to want to study. So it depends on specific circumstances that you're dealing with.
Oh, okay. Here's a question that's also come on the WhatsApp line from Sfiso, who says, Clement, I have a question here. There's a group of employees that were hired 2 months ago. They are still on probation. These employees received letters last week to say they are now retrenched and their last day is on the 31st of October. My question is, why were they hired in the first place? And they left their permanent jobs to come here, and in less than 2 months, they must go. Is this fair to them?
Well, it doesn't sound fair at all. One, because there doesn't seem to have been any scope for consultation. It seems they simply received a letter which said retrenched, at least from the facts that are provided. It may very well be that they received a letter inviting consultations. I don't know the content of what they received, but it is possible. But if all they received is one single letter that says you are retrenched, that retrenchment cannot be fair. It doesn't sound fair at all because there was no consultation, because they may not know what are the reasons for the retrenchment, and those reasons may not be subjected to enough scrutiny for them to pass muster, as they said.
Mm-hmm. Another one says, Clement, on this topic of retrenchments, I'm a qualified chartered accountant and I used to work for a consulting firm. The employer retrenched us, gave notice a day before we had to leave. We were compensated by way of extra 1 month pay as our team was with the organization for a year. This was so sad for me because the employer did not even offer counseling or any support to prepare me for the bad news. Is that, Khaliboy, what's expected of employers?
No. As I said, I think the answer is the same as the last one. It doesn't look like in this specific instance there was any scope for consultation. It sounds like it was a foregone conclusion. We're just receiving a letter that says you are retrenched. Here's your retrenchment letter, and you receive X, Y, and Z as the final package. The reasons are not clear. Whether the reasons were justified is not clear. Whether retrenchment could have been avoided is not clear. Whether there's any other way it could be said that retrenchment was not the last resort in this instance.
Yeah.
There were a number of other alternatives as resorts to be opted for as opposed to retrenchment.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it on that basis the retrenchment would not be fair.
But in terms of like support and psychological support, should a company provide those services for employees when it's breaking the news that they are getting retrenched? Is that an expectation?
It is a legitimate expectation to have. Also depending on the reasons for the retrenchment, because if the reasons is financial constraints, for example, financial redress of the business, there may not even be money for that. But one of the subjects of consultation is how do you mitigate the adverse impact of retrenchment? And one of them could to help people rewrite their CVs, put their CVs together, take them for a bit of counseling. All of those things will be some measures that can be taken to avoid retrenchment.
Yeah, and then the last one quickly, Dakalo says, Clement, how long does it take for a company to consider retrenchments? I'm with a manufacturing company and it's been applying the short time procedure for precisely 6 months a year concurrently for almost 15 years now.
I'm not sure what is meant by that.
I think I assume, and I'm assuming here, that it could be that the company has been trying to, has spoken to them about getting into this process of retrenchment, but it's been many, many years now that it's been talking about it and nothing has come up. Can a company do that? So do you apply? Do you have to apply to a certain body or institution for you to start the process of retrenchment? Or is it a process that you can start unilaterally as a company?
No, the scenario is not anywhere close to normal because it's not fair to have the retrenchment X hanging on your head for 5, 6, 7 years. It should be something to be dealt with, and it must be over and done with, and then you move forward.
Okay.
What it sounds like a bit is that there is potentially some kind of employment relationship where you're not employed for the whole year, you are employed for 6 months.
I see.
And for the other time, you don't have a job. And in that instance, it's not exactly a retrenchment.
Okay.
It's something different. It's a different employment arrangement or employment relationship. So we cannot talk about retrenchment in that regard.
Okay. Can I challenge the company, though, if it says we're going to retrench because of 1, 2, 3? Can I come back and say and dispute that?
Of course. That's the whole reason why you need to go through the retrenchment consultation, because the retrenchment decision has to be questioned. It has to be subjected to scrutiny, and then it has to pass muster. And then when it passes muster, then the retrenchment can take place. But if the retrenchment does not pass muster, then it cannot be fair. And once you are terminated, you can then challenge that the retrenchment was unfair, and it may be ruled by the courts as unfair, in which case then either you'll be reinstated or there'll be some compensation that's paid over, which might be in excess of what you would have received under normal.
Yeah, Khaliboe Mudisapudi, labor law analyst. Thank you so much for making time for us. Maki, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Environmental groups are set to battle it out with the Mineral Resources Department and oil giant Shell in the Constitutional Court this morning. Organizations Greenpeace and Natural Justice are challenging a Supreme Court judgment which allowed Shell to bring an application for seismic exploration in the Wild Coast in the Eastern Cape. The surveying includes seismic blasting near the seabed, which the groups are opposed to. There are growing calls to review a policy framework that stipulates university students who form part of the missing middle can only apply for NSFAS loans and not bursaries. The students in question do not meet the threshold for NSFAS bursary applications, but also cannot afford to self-fund their tuition. Higher Education Minister Butima Namela says there is increasing pressure to allow these students to qualify for bursaries. And a United Nations Commission of Inquiry says Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. A new report says there are reasons reasonable grounds to conclude that 4 of the 5 genocidal acts defined under international law have been carried out since the start of the war with Hamas in 2023. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling in Greenstone, we've got a major accident scene on the N3 South. It happened right near Modderfontein Road, causing heavy traffic volumes at this particular moment as you come out of Marlborough Drive. If you were traveling in Kempton Park, more delays reported on the R24 East between Barbara Road and the OR Tambo interchange due to an earlier accident, as well as roadworks taking place along this route. Traveling on the N12 as well as the R24 West, delays between Edenville Road and the Kidulis interchange, and that's due to roadworks taking place along this route. And I'm also seeing a slight backup on the Mag 1 North. So this is just as you come out of the Killarney Bends towards Glenhove Road. If you do see anything else on the roads, we are on X at EWN Traffic, and Garabo Jale will handle those in the next hour onwards. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Mzansi, 133 million rand in total guaranteed Powerball and Powerball Plus jackpots could change your life. That's right. Play Powerball for a guaranteed 70 million rand and Powerball Plus for a guaranteed 63 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in-store, online at nationallottery.co.za, on the mobile app, via cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda Push-Up Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
It's spring, SA, and here at DecoFern, we say it's time to say yes. Say yes to new friends. Yes to new adventures. Will you marry me?
Yes!
And definitely say yes to a few new things.
Welcome to DecoFern.
Say yes to awesome savings at the DecoFern Furniture Spring Sale, with up to 35% off on outdoor furniture and much more. In-store now or at decofernsa.co.za.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct, to give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
After a magical sold-out debut in KwaZulu-Natal this past May, Jeremy Loops and Ladysmith Black Mambazo are bringing their groundbreaking collaborative show, Echoes Between Us, to Johannesburg this September for a limited run at the iconic Teatro at Monte Cassino. So 702 has 2 tickets for the concert to give away. The concert on Friday, the 19th of September. So for your chance to win these tickets, 2 tickets to this concert by Jeremy Loops and Ladysmith Black Mambazo, I want you to send me a WhatsApp voice note right now responding to this very simple question. Here's the question. Ladysmith Black Mambazo was founded by which legendary South African musician? So who founded the group Ladysmith Black Mambazo? If you know the answer, well, you could be winning yourself 2 tickets to this concert by Jeremy Loops and Ladysmith Black Mambazo on Friday, the 19th of September. Send me a WhatsApp voice note right now on 072 702 1702.
702 Health and Wellness.
22 minutes now before 12 o'clock. Time for our Health and Wellness feature. And today we are having a conversation on our Health and Wellness feature about meditation. Do you meditate? And how often do you meditate? I want us to have a chat about the benefits of meditation and how to do it, especially for beginners, right? In today's fast-paced world, stress, anxiety, and burnout are challenges that many South Africans face daily. In fact, around the world, and even here at home, meditation has moved from being seen as a purely spiritual practice to becoming a widely recognized tool for managing mental health and improving overall well-being. In fact, when you look at a number of surveys, they suggest that millions of people now use meditation regularly, whether through guided apps or wellness programs at work or community classes. Interest has really grown sharply in recent years. You've got more and more people looking for accessible ways to cope with daily pressures. But for beginners, meditation can still be intimidating. And that's why I want someone who can take us through some tips for some of you that want to try it out. How do you start meditating, right? What real benefits has it brought for you? When did you begin meditating? Share your experiences with us on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Olivia Moon is a wellness expert joining us for this conversation. Olivia, thank you for your time. Hi.
Hi, Clement. Thanks for having me on this morning.
So for someone new to meditation, maybe they've just heard their friends talk about it or some wellness coaches talk about it. What exactly is meditation? What does it entail?
So meditation is a practice that we can come into a space of presence with ourselves. And there's many different ways that we can meditate. But ultimately what we're doing is we're starting to train this muscle that we have of our own awareness. So a lot of people think that meditation is about not thinking. But actually what it is we start to create space between who we are, as in the awareness, and the thoughts. So it's this practice of really starting to focus the mind and bring ourselves into a space of calm. And the way that we do that is we use something, either the breath, we use a mantra, and I'll get into all of this in a moment, as a way to intentionally guide our awareness away from that consistently chattering mind, so that we can actually come into a space of presence.
Okay, so are you just like silent in that process, and you'll talk to us and maybe get into the mantras as well and the things that are said during that process? How does it work? Like, do I switch down my mind completely? I can't be thinking of anything. I'm trying to be as practical as possible.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so what you would do is you would preferably find a quiet place that you could sit. You could also do it lying down. And really the idea is that we find something for our awareness to focus on. So when I say the mind is, we have our thoughts, but we can also shift our awareness away from our thoughts. So what we use is we find something to focus on, which could be, in different practices, either the breath. So I'll start with the breath. So in a meditation session, what you would do is you would come into a quiet seat, and then you would begin to notice your breath. And by noticing your breath, you would allow your focus to shift from the thoughts. So it's not about not thinking, but it's about starting to observe your thoughts rather than identify with them. So it's this beautiful opportunity to strengthen this muscle of awareness. So we start to notice, which sometimes might sound like news to people, but you actually are not your thoughts. You are the one observing your thoughts. So what this practice really does at its root is create a little bit more space between what's going on in the thoughts of the mind and where we are, which is ultimately the seat of the observer of our experience.
What are the main health and well-being benefits of regular meditation? And how often would you advise people to do it who want to see these benefits?
So, I mean, the benefits, as I think you touched upon them, are numerous. And, we can look at them on a physical level. And I think the main one that I think is the most relevant to everyone is it helps us to manage stress. So by meditating, we can actually lower the cortisol levels in our body, which is a very, very powerful stress hormone that has a knock-on effect of other different systems in our body. And it can actually, in this way, help us to sleep better. It can lower our blood pressure. But what it can also really do is help us with emotional resilience and emotional regulation. So really, to me, what this practice does, so we do this practice, say, for example, preferably every day, but if not every day, then as often as possible. So the important thing to know about meditation is that it is a practice, so you're never going to get there. The whole point of the practice is to keep practicing. And what this really helps us to do ultimately is it helps us to become responsive in our lives rather than reactive. So when we start to practice this muscle of awareness, we can start to create a little bit more space, and we bring ourselves into presence that we can then, in our interactions, in our relationships, in our work, we can start to be more intentional in the way that we show up. And this is really something that you can start to feel the more that you practice.
And how much time should a beginner set aside each day or each time that they meditate?
So, I mean, ideally it would be great if it could be 20 minutes, but really 5 minutes done consistently is better than 20 minutes done once a week. So if you had to imagine, it's just like any kind of muscle, you're wanting to be consistent with it. You don't want to go to the gym once and then not go again for the next month. You want to just start to do something a little bit more every day. And what ends up happening is even if you carve out 3 or 5 minutes, you might find that as you experience the benefits, you feel more motivated to maybe next time continue and go on a little bit longer.
Okay. It's 15 minutes now before 12 o'clock. After the break, I will take some calls. I'll take some WhatsApps as well. Do you meditate? What kind of benefits have you seen from meditating? Maybe it worked for you. Maybe it didn't work for you. I want you to share your experiences with us. Or maybe you are considering trying it out because you really are looking for something to help with your stress, your anxiety, maybe your sleep problems as well. What questions do you have for my guest, Olivia Moon, who is a wellness expert? 011-883-0702. You can send WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
We are watching in real time a shift in hegemonies and concentrations of power in the world. We're literally seeing the United States being cut in half, ideologically speaking, with the very scary prospects of real violence in that country. It is a stressful time. You need to be conscious and deliberate about being kind to yourself, being kind to others. Protect your mind, protect your heart, because we've never been here before.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
Got big dreams for your small business? The Hollywood Foundation is here to make them a reality with the Bambelela Business Awards. SMMEs in Gauteng. This is your chance to grab a share of 1 million rand in funding. The awards recognize and reward the contributions small businesses make to growing and transforming our economy. Submit your entries today. Applications close on 4 October 2025. Submissions will be reviewed by a panel of expert judges. Enter now at www.hollywoodfoundation.co.za.
Let's count backward. 5. Insurance. 4. Pineapple. 3. Insurance. 2. Pineapple. 1. You're under.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
702.
Health and wellness.
12 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's start with your WhatsApp voice notes.
Good morning, Clement and your guests. To me, meditation used to be just a word until I was diagnosed with an illness that I battled to accept. Even when I was told that I can survive, I was just, so to help me out, I was taught meditation, breathing to relieve the stress and the anxiety. And I noted that with meditation, I was even able to sleep with ease, because mostly I would think a lot about the illness, and I would have sleepless nights, but meditation calmed me down. Thanks, Dima.
Oh, interesting. Thank you so much, Aushdima, for that. Another person on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, on meditation, it's life-changing. The primary school I went to used to give us meditation time at the start and end of school, as well as classes on self, nature, and spiritual awareness as part of the curriculum. It's been a positive influence since on my whole well-being, on my whole life experience and growth as well. I find that fascinating, Olivia, that there are schools out there that offer time at the start and at the end for just to allow for people to meditate.
I think it's absolutely wonderful, and it should be happening more and more. And I just love these voice notes and this feedback, because I can say until I'm blue in the face all these benefits, but to hear it from people who are really practicing it, and as someone who does practice meditation daily, it really is something that can actually change your life. And what's beautiful about it is that it's accessible to everybody. It doesn't have to be coupled with any kind of spiritual practice. It is actually a secular practice. So you can do it in a way that is quite scientific, really. I mean, as you would have seen when you look into this, there's a lot of scientific research on the benefits of how meditation brings us into a different brainwave. So it takes us from this beta brainwave state where the mind is quite busy to this alpha brainwave state where we can be more creative, where we can be more present. So there's we can really approach it from many different angles. And as I was saying before, there's different ways to meditate as well. When we come back to this idea of the mantra, so we can focus on our breath as a tool for bringing us into presence. And what I love about the breath is that, the breath is only happening in the now, right? We can't breathe in the past, we can't breathe in the future, whereas the thoughts are moving us everywhere, right? It's moving us to the future, to the past. But when we focus on the breath, we come into the present moment. But we can also use, for some people who have got a very busy mind, something like a mantra. And the word mantra actually means mind tool. So it's a tool for the mind to focus on so that the thoughts are not the ones that are running the show. And a mantra is a simple word or phrase or sound, something like Om, you could say, and you would repeat that in your mind over and over again. And in that process, everything starts to kind of calm down internally. And so that's all these practices come from very, very ancient traditions, but have all been brought into the modern day, which I think is a wonderful thing, because we are more stressed than ever before. And so anything that can support us, especially something that doesn't cost money, is something that is a tool that I would love to spread more and more around.
Yeah, and then on the WhatsApp line, Hare says, I've been meditating since I was a teenager because I developed anxiety. I meditate before I sleep to calm the thoughts, and in the mornings as well, so I can be calm. I use an app I use an app for guided meditation because my thoughts are very loud. So for beginners, Olivia, do you advise that they maybe start alone and do those just simple mantras, or maybe start with an app? What's the best way, especially for beginners?
Definitely start with an app. So a guided meditation is going to be such a supportive tool, and that's the wonderful thing about technology is we have all of these free, incredible meditation apps that we can use. And so when we are new to this practice, just having someone continuously guiding you through it really helps you to get the benefits without, getting in your own way. What generally will happen is that over time, and if you do it for long enough, or if you perhaps feel inspired to take a meditation course, you will get to the point that you just want to be alone in your silence, in your silent practice. But to start with, I would recommend downloading a free app. There's so many. Some I can mention are one called Insight Timer, which is a beautiful worldwide app. I actually have got some guided meditations of my own on there too. And you can go on there and you can find meditations for everything. So you could find meditation for sleep, for anxiety, for self-love, anything that you're navigating, there's a meditation for that. Some other ones that are great are Headspace. And there's also an app which I haven't personally tried, which I know is very popular, called Calm. So those are just a few. And, really there are more and more of these every day. So definitely starting with an app, starting with just 5 minutes, and being really kind with yourself, because some days it's going to be easier than others. And really with all these practices, even the actual practice of meditation, once again, it's not about not thinking. We can almost see it as we are focusing on, for example, the breath, or we're focusing on the mantra, and the mind is playing in the background, a bit like a radio, actually. And so we can choose, am I going to listen to the radio, or am I going to focus on the breath? But, what really ends up happening is that we start to just find a sense of calm and peace within ourselves, because the practice itself is not about, once again, not getting caught up in the thoughts. The practice is every time we notice we've got caught up in the thoughts and we come back to the breath, that's the muscle that we're building. We're building this muscle of awareness. So all of these guided meditations are wonderful. It's a beautiful way to start to strengthen that muscle so that you can then go out and do it on your own anytime, anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people are saying, yeah, but I'm so busy, I want to try this, but I really have no time. So any advice for people who have hectic lives? Like, how can they make meditation a habit and fit that into their busy lifestyles?
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing, it really is about, if you think about 5 minutes, how easily do we kill 5 minutes scrolling on our phone? It can happen in an instant. So it is about starting to prioritize it. And this is why it's important, when we can understand what the benefits are. It is going to, in the beginning, require a bit of willpower to get started. But my advice is always to find a time in the day that you can stack it with something else you do. So there's this idea that we have of habit stacking. So maybe it's just after you brush your teeth, or just before you brush your teeth, you take those 5 minutes. I actually think the best time to do it is just when you wake up. So you don't even get out of bed. You can even sit in your bed and you can play your guided meditation with your earphones on, and then you're already starting your day. And what I love about starting your day with meditation, we are so in our life now, most people are waking up, grabbing their phone, responding to text messages, responding to emails. And what that does is it drains our energy from the moment we wake up, because we're just reacting to everything happening around us. Whereas meditation is a bit like putting yourself on the charging bank and taking that moment to connect with yourself, to notice, how am I feeling today? What are my thoughts like? What are my sensations in my body like? And start to connect with yourself first, so that you can actually give more from a fuller cup.
Yeah, Olivia, thank you so much. Thank you so much for making time for us. Olivia Moon is a wellness expert. 7 minutes, 3 before 12.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 750 gram, 780 gram, 850 gram Nola mayonnaise, excluding squeeze bottle, for $38.99. Save R6 with Spar rewards, or 2-liter Spar full cream or low-fat ultra-pasteurized milk for $32.99 with Spar rewards. Plus, you could win your share of R6 million in instant cash. Price is valid until 22 September 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
What new cost-cutting business strategies would you need for a 20% saving on your operating expenses? Only one? Well, switch to OUTsurance Business and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. For medical specialities like dental, physiotherapy, surgical, and other industries, OUTsurance Business are trusted experts in business insurance. Get a quote today. It's easy. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Licensed to insure and FSB. T's and C's and information online.
Here at Betway, we're finding every way possible to make sure you can win your next sports bet. With our new Bet Saver feature, you could get your stake back or more on bets with multiple losses. Stand to win, even when your bet misses. Bet Saver. Exclusive to Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
Coming up on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
How are you doing, Mandy?
Very good, thank you.
What's happening today? Okay.
Why are you making me laugh?
And you have to. Okay. The easiest explanation is I asked Mindy a question before we went live, and she was shocked by it. So when I said, "How you doing?" she's like, "Great, thank you." I'm like, Oh, interesting.
I didn't.
That wasn't the case 2 seconds ago.
I held it together.
What's happening on the midday report today?
So we'll professional adult voice. We'll speak to Reverend Frank Chikani, the ANC Integrity Commission chairperson, about the comments made yesterday at that meeting of councillors. We'll also get some analysis on that. A lot of dissection taking place today. We'll look at the state of municipalities in South Africa. And then the MK has brought an urgent application to stop the Madlanga Commission from taking place tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm rolling.
You just roll your eyes.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, though. I'm not sure that there will be a case for urgency on this. We'll unpack it with.
They waited until today? Yeah. Wow, interesting. Okay. Is that it?
Yes, that's all.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Mandy Winner in Pretoria. That's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy. Thank you for listening to the show. We'll be back tomorrow. Oh, we're live. Oh, my goodness. I forgot this. We have to give away tickets. I promised you 2 tickets to Jeremy Loops and Ladysmith Black Mambazo concert. So we've got somebody who sent us a WhatsApp voice note on the line, who's calling us, Glennis, who is calling us to answer the question I asked. Glennis, good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
It is afternoon indeed. So the question I asked was, Ladysmith Black Mambazo, who was the person that founded this group?
It's Joseph Shabalala.
Joseph Shabalala indeed is the correct answer. Congratulations, Gladys. You have won yourself 2 tickets to this concert on the 19th of September. Hey, I nearly just wrapped up the show before I gave you the tickets. All the best, Gladys. And thanks to you for listening to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We're back again tomorrow between 9 and 12, live at the Madlanga Commission tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Mikey Malapo. Environmental groups are currently in the Constitutional Court challenging a Supreme Court judgment which allowed Shell to bring an application for seismic exploration in the Wild Coast in the Eastern Cape. The surveying includes seismic blasting near the seabed, which the groups are opposed to. The blasting is a method of searching for oil and includes seismic blasting near the seabed, which the groups are opposed to. The blasting is a method of